and then you'll be blindfolded. Yeah, you'll be blindfolded by these politicians who call themselves leaders, but they're not leaders. And so, honestly, after touring Kericho County, my what I view about Kericho County is that the county is so beautiful, but now they have ugly leaders, because if we can locate millions of money on the projects, but then these millions of money, they are going to people's pockets, it means that we even don't, those leaders don't even have respect for themselves. They don't respect the people they are serving. And so it's high time, guys, that not just the young people, but the entire nation, we unite and we ensure that we bring sanity in our nation. Else, wherever we are heading, this country will be like anybody. If you want to get out of the poverty region, it means that you have to go for a political seat to vie for that seat, and immediately you are elected, the only thing you can do there is to loot. And so we need to remove such mind from Kenyans. Yeah, and so the only thing that can bring change currently is civic education. Educate these people. If we are targeting probably 30 million people to be educated, then be rest assured that more than 20 million will resonate with the idea of bringing sanity in our nation. And so that is it. If you have a question, just request the microphone. I'll approve, and then you can pose the question. I saw Baha here. I don't know where he is. He had requested to speak here, but he just dropped. So I think I'll give you like 3 minutes. You request the mic, you pose that question, or you can even share what you feel. And then after that, we call it a night, because it's too late here, and tomorrow we need to wake up very early in the morning to go to the ground again. So James, I can see you've requested. Good evening. James? James, are you able to speak? Okay, I can see Esther. Good evening.
Good evening, KOT. How are you?
I'm fine. Do you have a question or any comment?
I have only a comment just to say you're doing good work, and that is very impressive. And what I really know is that our country will be back to its state. It is only a matter of unity with every citizen, and I'm sure one time when that unity will be, we will make this country come to an ultimatum or a stop of this maybe corruption, that the leaders don't see as corruption. They just see is the way to go in when they are in the office. And so I would be happy one day when I will see that our leaders whom we choose, they're not really doing the wrong thing and calling it the right way, being in the system of corruption. I know one day the truth will come to reality, and we will have accountability with our nation, we will have honesty with our nation, and that will be my happiness. Even if it takes how many years, how many minutes, how many ages, that will be my prayer one day. So asante sana.
Okay, thank you so much, Esther. And of course, personally, I believe you are within the jurisdiction of our nation. And so, my question to you, Esther, you as a young person, I know you are of my age. What are you doing? What are you doing to ensure that we have that change? Just a question, a simple question to you.
I would say, personally, I'm at Kitui, and I am also at a award called Zombe Mwitika Award. And this is the place where the party of UDA has reigned in many of our wards. That is Kitui East. Most of the MCAs, they won through UDA. So that means they're supporting our president. And so it's not easy. As you have said, someone was just asking you how much root was stolen. Maybe I'm facing the same challenge, but what I would say, I've tried to educate and tell them the reality of the small shilling that they think is the mandate for government to just loot it. But when they come to their own thinking and understanding, they find that is money that should not be misused. Like, for example, we have Kitui, there's a TVET in Kitui East, which the MP promised that has paid for the new students, but literally that was just a lie, that it was out of a way of just convincing the Zombe Mwiteka that has paid for the new members who are joining the school. So I'm trying my best to have conversation with every individual I meet. So that is what I'm doing on my end.
Okay. Thank you so much, Esther, and of course, continue doing the Lord's work. Yeah, you know, we've always believed that we want to leave this nation better than we find it, and so by doing exactly what you've said here on this space, it means that you doing the Lord's work. Yeah, so continue injecting, continue putting your leaders on toes for them to account for each and every project, each and every shilling they are given, because those money are ours. Yeah, we are the taxpayers, and so continue doing that. James, are you there? I suspect if James is able to speak, and of course we have our professor here, Professor Kibwana. Professor Kivuta Kibwana has been a person who has really stood with this movement, and you find out that even before we the Gen Zs went on the streets and of course realized that we need to do civic education, Prof. Kibwana had written a book for civic education, and of course I have that copy and I've been sharing with you guys. And so I just want to welcome him to say a word, and then of course we proceed with the conversation. Prof, karibu.
Asante sana, Court, and congratulations for the work that you guys were doing today. You have been doing with Morara and others. Poleni kwa kazi. I just wanted to say kitu kidogo tu, kwa sababu hii ni conversation yenu, and people like us, we try where we are asked to just be of assistance, because it is you guys who must develop into that different leadership that will not do the wrong things that are happening in this generation of the people who are in power and even earlier generations. So you have a lot of responsibility as you that will transform our country. Just from what you told us, I like the fact that there is a ground injection, there is express injection, there is a injection in other social media, and so the injection is really going, and I hope and I wish that what you find, it should be documented everywhere. It begins to become material for further political education. It is shared, and when you go a place, I hope you are leaving people to do the same work, so that you plant. It's like missionary work. Like you say, you're doing the Lord's work. So when missionaries, go a place, they leave, other people now on ground, trying to continue the work. And of course, one looks at what you're doing as a very powerful form of political education. The others who are going into matatus, the others who are, doing many things, so that it is like a reincarnation of street power. This is knowledge power, and so really, people grow within what you're doing, and people create the Kenya we want. What is the manifesto? What are the things that should be? And even actually, one point was, and I think Esther mentioned it, was you did not get hostility from the people. Even the person who was asking how much as a route was stolen so that I can refund. During our time, sometimes in the 90s, you could go to certain places and the people would be hostile because they thought you are trying to remove their guy from power. But even when they ask many questions, that is good, that is how it starts. Then they continue to melt, they continue to understand. And the fact that even people in some places protect you against marauding MPs, or even people say, pesa kidogo ya fuel, that is really a big thing. And it's really my prayer as you go to all the places, eventually in each ward, 1450 of them, there will be presence of people who are injecting and creating the kind of political framework that you believe you will occupy, and it will take you and our country. Good work.
Oh, okay. So I even thought we've lost our professor, but yeah, of course. The idea of going to places, injecting. James, just a minute. Going to places, talking to people and explaining to them what is exactly happening, and trying to mentor even others and to leave them on the ground is a very good idea. And I welcome that idea from Professor Kibwana. And so, guys, let us do this. I believe we are the people that this nation wants. So, thank you, Professor. But I lost you at some minute. I don't know if you are done with your submission. I ain't sure about that. But
question. Hello, guys.
Okay.
Hello guys, how are you? Could you hear me?
We are good. Just
I want to ask you a question about what Esther said. How would the government is accountable for the resources they are giving to the people of Kenya? Especially my constituency, where I come from. There are some MP promised things that cannot even be accountable for. And if you can see that, like I am a person who one day he came in a certain school, then he came and promised that he'll pay for the students' money, but he was not eligible to pay the school fees. So why is it that this government is coming to be accountable for the things that are happening? No, they cannot. I'm through.
so, James, just to answer your question and of course your concern.
Yeah.
The government have not been, of course, brought to that accountability state, and so if we pump in pressure, if we want to know exactly what is happening, if we go through probably
Let me ask you.
Just a minute.
Okay.
Okay, I'm saying that currently we have the Auditor Generals, and that Auditor General has been posting the report of how our funds have been used. Yeah, and of course, even apart from that, we also have these social media platforms. We have even the news agencies. We have the television. Of course, when these people are going to places, they promise things like now, for instance, now the president, he can go to Nyanza province and he says, I've allocated 50 million to this project. So if we hear about that, and probably after some times we realize that what he promised has not happened, then let us not keep quiet. Yeah, let us inquire more about the monies that were put in such projects. Yeah, how they have been spent, and how much is the balance. Even if it's to go deeper and request from the payment receipts, because our constitution allows us to access information from the public information. So it means that if you are going to put them on toss, then it will be so hard for them to actually steal and I mean to steal those money from our coffers the way they've been doing. And so it means that if we go hard on them, they wouldn't be doing exactly what they've been doing in the recent past. So that's what I believe that that should happen. And by doing that, I think we'll bring the change we want. Yeah, because if you don't speak about an issue, then that person, you are giving that person more energy to continue and loot. You are giving that person more energy to continue to steal. James?
Yes, this government is coming to be accountable for what is happening. But today, as per today,
I'm losing you, James. Toria, can you hear James?
No.
James, we are losing you. I don't know if you can rectify your mic or your internet, then come back. So we have Voice of Tongaren. Jambo.
Yes, KOT, thank you. So I'm still on the road. Let me look for a place before I can continue to speak.
Haujafika bana. I've pinned you the location, ufike haraka. Sawa.
Yeah. I'm on the way. Let me look for a place yenye imetulia, and then we will proceed. So let me hand over the mic to somebody else.
Okay. I can see Dr. Onyango is here. Dr. Onyango and the group, we are working on a certain press conference on the issue of that the cash crop bill that is currently the seeds bill that's currently in the parliament. Daktari, jambo.
Yes, the Jambo KOT. How are you today?
I'm good bana. Tuambie.
Asante sana. When I was checking my notifications just before I would switch off for the day, then I saw these about grassroots civic education, and I thought to just pop in before I retire. Yeah, so thank you. I think it's a good initiative, grassroots civic education. Yeah, to those in the call, I think I came in when Prof. Kibwana was speaking. Good insights from there. And all who have gone. My name is, I'm Dr. Duncan Onyango. I am an engineer by profession. I specialize in water and environmental engineering. I teach at the Technical University of Kenya, School of Chemical and Environmental Engineering. So we have been together in the trenches with KOT and many others during this revolution. And I am glad with the way things are shaping up right now, especially the topic at hand today, where we are now moving this conversation beyond these spaces down to mwananchi at the very grassroots level. So that really elates me, because that is where this revolution belongs. The mwananchi at the grassroots level. I was talking to some people and I was telling them that this gospel of change must be preached to all villages for a witness, then shall the change come. I'm sure those who read the Bible understand me in that context. So this message must go down to the common mwananchi. When we talk about these the punitive agriculture bills that have been proposed in Parliament, that message must go down to Wanjiku and to Wanyama and to Otieno and to everyone at the grassroots level, so that they can be able to understand what this holds for them. And I was glad earlier in the week, I was somewhere in Embu, a village called Githemu, and we were there. We had actually been invited to go and speak to the congregation on a funeral. I hadn't imagined that I will be standing one day doing a civic education in a funeral. Oh, by the way, KOT, it was one of the young men you sent me during the Nani Nani revolution. Remember that young man that came all the way from Embu? And I received him in the night and hosted him. Unfortunately, he lost his mom. And he insisted that, hey, I want you to come, and I want you to come with a team, so that even though we are mourning, but I want is very receptive to these issues of change. We were able to inject a lot there, and even talk to them directly about these issues that are happening, including the Murima politics that are currently ongoing. And people are very receptive to this message down there. So it's a clear indication to us that really, they told us clearly that you guys need to come here more often, come and talk to us, let us know what is happening. And when you talk to them about the things we are doing, like on these agriculture bills, now we are talking about the Horticultural Crops Authority bill, they are really wondering, are you sure this is what is happening? Yeah, mbona hatujawahi sikia? So, and when you sit them down, take a moment and explain it, break it down to them, they really appreciate and they really get to understand that message. So I think that is where that is the direction that now the movement is taking, and we need to have more and more of us talking about it. Then yesterday I was invited to speak to a comrades forum at my own Technical University of Kenya, where we had about more than 300 comrades, and I was talking to them about the things that affect them. We just had the whole issue of university funding, and we were actually wondering that why does the country seem to be retrogressing? If 30 years ago university education was free. Yeah, and people would learn for free and eat for free at the mess and still be given boom. But then now, in 2002, primary education was free. We would be expecting that by now we would be talking about free secondary education and even free university education, but that is not the situation. So those are some of the things we were discussing with them. And they, just like the village in Embu, even the university students there, really, because there were issues that were talking to them. In fact, we just finished a strike that we had industrial action that ran for a whole month at the Technical University of Kenya because systems were not working. So these are issues that affect them directly, and they sit down, they're willing to listen, and they ask you, what can we do as young people to be able to change the situation? Or is it that all is lost? So I think one thing, again, that we have to do is to tell these people that all is not lost. The power lies with us, and we are the change that we need. So finally, maybe just an overview of what we are doing. We have heard about the agriculture bills, you know, the nut and oil crops bill, the agricultural professionals bill. Now, Sabina Chege recently introduced the horticultural crops authority bill. And if you read some of those bills, you know, they are meant to take away food sovereignty from the farmer. And a lot of authority is being given to government agencies, the minister, and now even the authorities, new authorities that are proposed to be created, such that to be able to do some simple things like planting your vegetables and taking them to the market, you are told that you need a license that you renew annually to be able to do that. And failure to do so, you could be subject to imprisonment for up to 3 years and even a fine of up to 1 million. So how you would go to be able to implement this with a mama mboga down in the village to be able to do such things. So when we put out a call, we had a space last week that was hosted by KOT here, and people overwhelmingly reached out to us after that. I think even the Ministry of Agriculture released a statement trying to distance themselves from those bills, that tumesikia vitu kwa mtandao. We want to tell you that those bills do not originate from the ministry. But the reality is that those bills are in Parliament, and if passed, they are going to have far-reaching implications on our food sovereignty. So there we placed a general call, and within 24 hours, so many Kenyans had come on board. In fact, there was a WhatsApp group that we put up for people who are interested, lawyers, farmers, friends of farmers, people from different other professions that support farmers. And we were overwhelmed by the numbers. Within less than 24 hours, we had to create a community so that we could be able to accommodate more people. Kenyans who are just coming up to say we want to stand in solidarity with farmers to say no to these bills. So we are going to have another space with them on Monday, and to be able just to hear what Kenyans, these many Kenyans who have shown interest, have to say. And then on Tuesday, we are going to hold a media conference with various media houses and a few interested parties in Nairobi at the Clarion Hotel. And we will be able to chart the way forward of how we are going to. A team of lawyers have already volunteered to be able to take legal action against some of these bills, and we will be able to chart the way forward. Just do everything that we can do to be able to protect the common mwananchi and our food sovereignty as a country. So when you see our channels, the campaign is dubbed Kilimo cha Haki, and it is what is now going out there. So you will see a lot about Kilimo cha Haki. And when we hold the media conference on Tuesday morning, we will be telling Kenyans, breaking it down one by one, what these bills hold for us and why we think they should be relooked at for the best interest of the country and the common mwananchi who is involved in farming in the villages. So that's what we are up to. Thank you very much, KOT, for this chance, and all the people on board. Let's team up together and sustain this protest spirit all the way to be able to bring change in this country. The change that we need lies with us. And if we don't fight for it, if we don't do it, if we don't step out and do all the heavy lifting and the dirty work that is required to do it, nobody will do it for us. Yeah, I was telling my friends that whatever it takes now, where we have reached, whatever it takes, we must be able to be willing to do it, to be able to bring the change we want. If it will require people to organize themselves in civics, in justice centers and civil society groups, be willing to do that. If there are people who can organize themselves politically to be able to fight towards that change, do not hesitate to go in that direction, because we know that even in as much as we can fight and we can agitate and we can do all these things, ultimately the ballot is coming in 2027. And if we are not careful, these people will use the stolen resources that they have, the state power that they unleashed against us during the revolution, the political experience that they have. If we do not organize ourselves properly, we may end up in a worse situation. And you can imagine if Ruto is treating us like this in his first term, when he still expects to be elected in 2027, how worse would this regime be if they were supposed to get a second term, when they're not looking forward to any election but just to finish and go? So we must wake up and do all that it takes. If it will require us to go back to the streets at some point in time to put more pressure, be willing to do that. If it requires you to step out of your comfort zones, like I stepped out of my comfort zone. I have had a lot of my friends challenging me, Duncan, you are too young. You still don't settle. Don't be comfortable with what you're doing at the university. Step out of class. One politician told me, Duncan, what are you doing in class? Step out. If you will stay in class, and this country will be unsustainable for you. Because even right now, we were fighting for money, we are fighting for pension, we were fighting for medical cover. Imagine you are a lecturer, you have taught, I know Professor Kibwana here taught in the university, I saw his post, he was saying 25 years before, and now he's back. A professor who has been in the university maybe for 30 years, 35 years, then you are told that your pension fund has collapsed when you are just at the verge of retirement. And all these years monthly, your deductions are taken for pension. The government is supposed to contribute and the university is supposed to contribute a similar amount. You multiply that by 35 years for all the 1,700 staff we have at TUK, and you are told that those deductions did not end up at the pension fund, and ultimately the pension fund collapsed. So those are the kind of atrocities, the kind of messes that people in power are doing. Yet we have just been quiet in our comfort zones as the middle class. So we must arise, do everything possible that we can do. And for me, I stepped out because I got the challenge and I said, I will, whatever it takes, I will do so that we can be able to get there. So thank you very much, KOT. And may God bless us as we continue with the fight. Asante sana.
Okay, thank you so much, Duncan, and may God bless you for the good work you're doing. And I really appreciate, guys, if you don't know Duncan, I met him on this platform. And remember, during Nane period, we were doing some fundraise to bring people to Nairobi for the protest. And personally, I brought a lot of people from outside Nairobi. Some of them came from Nyanza, others from Coast, others from Mount Kenya. And so there are some guys who popped in Nairobi at 1 a.m. Yeah, because they had missed their first vehicle, and so I had to pay for them the other vehicle. And when they popped in, I wasn't ready to even accommodate them because I had already given out the accommodation spaces to those who came earlier na zilikuwa zishaisha. And so I posted on this platform that I want someone to help me accommodate some people. And so Duncan called me on my WhatsApp number. It was at 2 a.m. and he said, give them my number, they can come at my place. We don't know those people. He don't know them. He don't know me. We've never met. And so I just believed him. And so he accommodated those people. Hey, anyway, hizi maspace bana, tunakutana tu hapa, ni Mungu anatuleta pamoja. So Mweru, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, I don't know.
It's still morning here, so good morning. So thanks for hosting the space. I've been trying to keep up with everything. I'm 13 hours behind. But I really wanted to just thank you guys. I've been following what you and Morara and the team are doing. I just had a conversation with some comrades here in the diaspora, and they have started following you guys, and they're also in shock of the things that you guys are basically exposing. So, I mean, we really appreciate your efforts and everything you guys are doing. I know you're basically literally sacrificing your lives by doing this because we know what kind of animals we have in office. So we don't take it for granted. But I mean, it just saddens me. I mean, it really is a sad situation, to be honest. For the guys that I hear that in the diaspora, I'm personally in the United States. And when you live in a country where, I mean, let me just first of all just put it out there. There's no perfect system. There's no country that runs perfectly. But when you live in a country where things actually work and function like they're actually supposed to, the roads are built and maintained like they're supposed to. And then you watch videos of roads whose monies have been designated and just stolen. Stolen. And these people have no shame. They have no shame. They have no regard for human life. They have no respect for Kenyans whatsoever. We understand they're morally bankrupt. We don't expect them to operate in any essence or any form of character because they don't have any. They're completely depleted of any form of decency. And they just steal the money, and they can just live their life watching people around them suffering while they're stealing and stealing and stealing. This really, I cannot even wrap my mind around this. We are trying to calculate how much money they have stolen. We can't even keep up. And to me, my request is, what if they just don't steal from Kenyans for 1 year? Just 1 year. Just 1 year. Like 1 year they don't steal from Kenyans. If every day we're losing 2 billion in corruption, if they just don't steal for 1 year, we're going to have at least 730 billion. If they don't steal for us, and they can put that money into the roads. Seriously, how do they expect Kenyans? How? And then they have the nerve to come here the other day. I hope he has gone back to Kenya because I don't even understand what he's doing in the US. I don't understand how we have a president who is stealing constantly and then wasting money. It's like he does not understand that every time he makes a trip, he is wasting more money, and then on top of that, he's going to still go back and steal. Like, they have no form of decency. It's just disgusting. It just pisses me off all the time. Like, we need to get them out of office, and we don't just need to get them out of office. We need to get them out of office and throw them in prison. And I think even throwing them in prison is basically just being nice to them because they deserve the capital punishment. How do you see people suffering? The hospitals are not built. The roads are not built. All the infrastructure is going to shit, basically. Education is a joke. And they have the nerve to board a plane and come here to the US to make a speech to the UN. Like, that is so important. I mean, come on. This guy, he just irritates me. Just how, I mean, they just misappropriation. He has no priorities. Like, the human life in Kenya, he has no time for it. So, I mean, I agree with one thing that I love with, I think it's the previous speaker that mentioned that, especially with these bills that they're passing and trying to pass that we need to put a stop to, that you guys are having a press conference to educate people. I love this because we need to just do whatever we can at this point. And there's one particular bill that they passed that we need to really pay keen attention to. I hosted a space, co-hosted rather previously, about a week ago, and we were discussing the IEBC. And after that, I advise people, we need to read this IEBC Act of 2024 that Ruto signed, because all these bills that they're passing obviously are for malicious agendas. And as we proceed with the civic education, I hope people will start fighting, to get this IEBC up and running, because we need to start recalling some of these idiots we have as MPs that are not serving us. All these people who are proposing these bills that are just meant to just rob and suppress and oppress Kenyans, we need to recall all of them. So while we have these conversations about civic education, we need to figure out a way to get the IEBC up and running. I'm starting to really get very worried about this. So anyway, let me just be quiet for now and keep listening. But I just thank everybody who is trying their best to play their part, everybody who is actually even making an effort to play their part, whatever it is that you're doing, because at the end of the day, it's going to have to be a teamwork. Even in the diaspora, we have a role to play here in this.
Okay, so thank you, Meru. I wanted to bring Toria, but I just want to go through your comments. I can see Anthony is saying, adding on to what Kebaso'S and the team are doing at the grassroots, each of us in these spaces spread across the country and across the world must act as multipliers of needed civic education with those we interact with continuously. Grassroots is where we all where we all reside. And then kuna Msena Mangombe saying, we shall do like Martin Luther King. If you can run, run. If you can run, run. If you can walk, just walk. If you can't walk, crawl. If you can't crawl, scream it out. Any of these are steps and will be felt. Alafu kuna admin anaitwa Aaron Adimao, he's saying, ushago nimeona chiefs wamewekwa na rada about this livestock bill. And then we have Vamineta the Guna is saying, how does civic education eradicate illiteracy, poverty, joblessness? Because these are the three pillars of politicians' stranglehold on power. Kuna anaitwa Mwaniki J.O. is saying Kebaso'S and Morara welcome Ukambani. Yeah, we'll come there soon. And he's also asking that you should follow him. He has only 14 followers. And then I can see Believer saying, KOT, can you add your number so that we can send you kidogo to support you? Hey, you guys should support me, bana. Leo karibu tukwame mahali and someone came in with 1,000 tukaeka mafuta. I hope you guys saw it because I shared on this platform. So if you can support. Yeah, that's exactly what you need to do, because without support, we're going nowhere. And so, Believer, I'll do that soon. To nipatie Toria to run the conversation. Toria.
Yes. Thank you, KOT and Mweru, for the space, and everyone who has sacrificed your time to join us now. The topic of the day is grassroots civic education. First of all, I would like to give my flowers to KOT and the rest who are on the ground trying to push so hard to inject and to educate people. Civic education is the one which is going to help us playing the great role in the mashinani area, most of it. Sababu, most of those people, they don't watch news, they don't listen. Okay, and if you watch news, definitely Zakayo gonna lie, so you're gonna listen to the lies. And I was talking to my relatives before I joined the space, and my uncle said, kwani nyinyi mnaishingi dunia gani nyi watu? Ati nimeona kwa news jana, niko like, oh my god, hizo siku zote nikiwaambia vitu mnasikianga na wapigia kelele ama ni mbuzi napigia ngita, like hawaamini. So nikawaelezea story na venye hiyo ukulima itawa affect. Then my uncle was like, acha sasa nianze kukuamini kidogo. Then I'm like, unaniamini kidogo ama una believe government venye inatuoppress, venye inatufinya? Let me tell you one thing. Through civic education, change starts with us. Like we start from where we are now. Una educate watu wenye wako around you, your family, as you grow to the community outside. He also went ahead and told me that, is it today? Yeah, today Raila Odinga was Ukambani with his fellas, somewhere there. Yeah. And definitely these people are looking for people to lie to. That's, we know. They are lying. So, honestly, civic education serves a great load in our community. Like, yeah, you asked if it can curb the unemployment, the corruption part. Yeah, if you educate people on accountability matters, on how we want our government to be, on how we expect our government to be run, and why we are against these leaders in the government, they will understand. One, they are squandering our money in unreasonable ways, which this money can be implemented in maybe industrialization, which can create jobs among our peoples. So vitu zingine ni tunajitafutia sisi wenyewe, like tunajisovia issues. Me, I really support that. And KOT, what you are doing with the group, it's a nice job. We got your back, we support you, maybe financially, in prayers, mentally, everything. You've got us. And I wanted to ask this question, KOT labda utanijibu, ama whoever. Before a bill is passed, maybe in the parliament, does it involve public participation? Because as we're doing civic education, people need to be informed that their participation is required in passing some certain things in the government before some things in government are taken action or they are pushed forward to be enhanced. So KOT, hebu nijibu hiyo swali.
Toria just popped in again. Space ilikuwa inaanguka, so I went to refresh. Ebu niulize hiyo swali tena kindly.
Okay, nilikuwa nauliza hivi. A bill inaproposiwa na mtu mmoja. Okay, like that whole culture bill, Sabina Chege came up with it. Amesha come up nayo. Does it involve, like, is the public opinions, like public participation considered before that bill is taken to the parliament to be passed, or they decide whether it should pass or not? Because ukifuatilia when tukieducate watu about civic education kwa grassroots huko ndani, these people need to know that their public participation is required in some aspects in the government before some things are implemented in this government. I don't know ama umeelewa my question.
Nielewa swali yako. Unaniuliza if the sponsor or the mover of that bill, who is now Sabina Chege, if she consider the public opinion. Unajua, most of these parliamentarians, they do things on their own. They never involve the people who elected them to those positions. And even you'll find out that most of the decisions, of course, they are making zinatoka all the way from the executive. The executive pushes them to table some bills so that they can enable them probably to generate much money from us. You find out that most of these bills zenye wanekanga huko, especially ka yenye sasa wanasema saizi you need to have a license, they are generating more funds from that bill. And so you find out that they rarely consider us. And of course, they believe that they represent us. And so whatever they are tabling there in the parliament, from what they think they are doing it on our behalf. And at times, even the bills zenye wanaweka hapo zenye they are so oppressive to us, you find out that because we elected them, they do it yani kwa kimapavu tu, and we the citizens can't do anything about that, because look at the finance bill 2024 and 2023. Citizens of this nation walikata that finance bill, and it took a bloodshed before William Ruto dropped that bill. You find out that even Ruto was asking the members of parliament to ensure that bill has sailed through. And so you find out that hizi vitu wanazifanya tu, they don't consider us as the citizens. And of course, as I even responded to one of the speakers, I say that when we find out that there are some bills that are so oppressive to us, let us not keep quiet. Let us express ourselves. We can do it. Even we can always table the memorandum to those parliaments, and even if that doesn't work, the constitution allows us to go out there and protest under Article 37. What I believed is that this government only listen to the language of the protest, but even before they listen to that, they're ensuring that there is more bloodshed before they do that. And of course, from now moving forward, we don't want any blood to be shed, because we the people believe that when we want this nation to move to a right trajectory, then let us have the right leaders there. You are a person like you, Toria. If you believe that you are good for leadership, you are ripe for that, go for that. And you ensure that you always listen from the people you are representing, before doing anything. So that's what I can give you as an answer, and back to you as you drive this conversation.
Oh, thank you. So I will still emphasize on grassroots civic education. Let's do it, and let's also, as we are educating people based on the constitution, let people of Kenya know what their constitution entails them to do and the rights and mandates that it gives them. It will also help us a lot. So I'll go to Rasji, then Mwangi next. Kindly, Rasji. Rasji.
Yes, Toria.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Let me move somewhere where I can. Because am I audible? I wanted to ask our good friend, Professor. Toria, confirm whether I'm audible, kidogo.
You are very much audible.
Thank you so much, and thank you for everybody. Thank you for switching on to these. Thank you, KOT. I came in because I saw Kivuta, and I'm so much concerned. I'm coming as a very much concerned Kenya, bearing in mind that our Professor Kivuta Kibwana has been in the political arena for some time. And Kivuta Kibwana, our good professor, we find ourselves at a very difficult period, especially the young people of this republic. Sisi mahali pe tumefika, we are so desperate in a situation in which we are capable, we are now prone in doing anything that can just get rid of this administration. Tumefika mahali ambapo hata sahi tukiambiwa we will get rid of William Ruto the constitutional way, it is not making sense to any of us. That's the extent we are. Choka, yani tumechoka tu ile design yenye. Bearing in mind, say, as we sit down, the opposition, the chief of opposition, the person who was supposed to look to oversight this government, right now he is seated in that government. You can even see Raila Odinga is now enjoying our taxes with this government. Kazi yake ni kungoja tu William Ruto ametoka out of the country, wanaandamana pamoja. It's like this country iko tu na watu wachache wenye wanakaa mpaka tuko kwa hii platform. When you listen to a politician, anybody who has been in the political atmosphere, unasikia tu umechoka. It is even hard to distinguish who is genuine, who is not genuine. We need to liberate this country very seriously, because we are tackling a mixture of problems. As we sit down here, William Ruto is cutting deals left, right and center. Yeah, anafanya tu madeals zake. At the other time when we held this platform up, we had even people from Haiti who came here and shed a light to why William Ruto even sent our policemen to Haiti. It is not simply because it has nothing to do with this peace, anything. It is something to do with looting the resources of that country. And it sends a very strong message huko nyumbani. When there is an issue like the NHIF issue and the social health insurance fund, huyu jamaa anajaribu kupush, even intimidating the civil servants. Wenye wataingia sijui they will be threatened with sacks. Kivuta, there is a lot going on in this country. Na mahali penye tumejipata as a country, and sorry to say that, the young people of this nation are capable of doing anything. Even as we talk this very moment, there is a squad that has just been given state funds, state resources. Kazi yao tu ni kumove from town to town, abducting young people, killing them. And it is unfortunate the members and the squad, the unit that has been constructed inatoka juu, all from information, intelligence. Wani ni watu wamejipanga, watu wameiba billions in this country. Sasa mahali penye watu wamefika, kazi yao ni kutumia apparatus. Even our own fellow young men and women have been recruited. Hao ndio wenye wanaseti wenzao. The young people of this nation are very desperate for change. Very desperate. And like I've said, people are desperate, ready to do anything. Anything that can get rid of this regime. This regime has been planted to us by foreigners. And the more we continue talking, I'm not downplaying, I'm not underrating our constitution. But the more, you saw the other day, William Ruto was on CNN, lecturing, preaching about democracy. A democracy he knows deep down, he does not believe in that democracy. William Ruto believes in rigged election, compromised system. Hiyo ndio kitu yenye believe. But he wants me and you to believe in those systems. William Ruto knows very well he ascended to power through dubious ways. Na anajua hivyo. And this is the this is the head, this is the mentality he has planted into politicians in this country. Sasa hivi vile tunaongea hapa hivi, politicians, 70% of politicians in this country believe they don't draw their power from wananchi. They draw their power from William Ruto. 80% of politicians in Mount Kenya, my region, I wanna believe they came to power. They became senators, they became MCS, they became MPs, courtesy of William Ruto. Wanajua wakienda kwa parties, they will compromise their way, they will get those tickets using money that they have stolen from wananchi. Kivuta Kibwana, I'm asking you as a Kenyan, what do you want Kenyans to do? When we are here telling Kenyans about constitution, when we are here telling Kenyans tuchukue kura, when we know very well somebody like Diaspora Baraza is very sure of becoming a governor in Bungoma, whether the wananchi like him or not, what do you want Kenyans to do? Munataka tufanye nini? Kwa sababu it is a proven record that hata saa hivi vile tunaambia young people in this country, chukueni kura, sijui tufanye nini, all those things, They are just exercise in futility. Huyu jamaa amekaa ameiba mabilioni. It's unfortunately the likes of Itumbi, young people who should be helping people. They are the ones giving information, using these service providers. Wanapeana mahali penye wewe huko, young people. The other day we had to protest here online for the release of Njagi, making noise. Yani William Ruto amejipata, he can only listen to his Western powers. Wakikaa wakimwambia, Kenyans, don't lie to yourself that this country, democracy itatupeleka mahali penye tuko. Democracy yenye tuko nayo kwa hii country, it's a coated democracy. It's a democracy that has just, in fact, I would want to put it this way. We have not gotten our independence until ile siku yenye tutaamuka sisi wote. Hii woga yenye tumeuziwa na watu through these institutions. Right now there is no institution that is working without the input of the executive. Even the wars that Gachagua is currently facing, he is facing them because the institutions can control that. And I'm not saying this because I love Gachagua. Gachagua has all the rights to undergo what he's undergoing right now. But you can learn from the Gachagua wars right now. It tells you the institutions of this country, they are compromised, they are controlled by the state heavily. And this is the same state that will sit down to arrange, conduct, and plan elections for you, thinking that you will get rid of William Ruto. Let us not lie to ourselves. And this is a question I'm posing to Kivuda Kibwana. If the constitution cannot work, if these people have suspended the constitution to loot from us, right now, hata wamefunza the women governors of this country. You cannot lie to me that there are even women governors working. Sai angalia sai, wanajiitaka sijui, I don't know if they are calling themselves the G7. Wanajiita mahali, just to exercise, to plan, how they can get more power in the name of looting. Go and check those counting that are run. And I'm not against women. Full of looting. They are now positioning one Waiguru. When Waiguru is an expert in looting government resources, our taxes. Who do you want wananchi who are desperate for change like me and others to think? I personally don't think this administration will be gotten rid the constitutional or the democratic way, because the democracy they preach to us every day, it is not the democracy that we read or think about. It is a different thing. Lastly, before, as I learned, the United States and the European nation, these are the masters. These are the people controlling this republic. Sai tukikaa hapa, new colonialism is coming back in form of Adani and these other things. Everything in this republic is being auctioned in the name of PPPIs. William Ruto, sahi, everything, all the parastatal zitaenda kwa jina yake, but si kwa jina yake. It is just bodies ameleta huku, puppets that ameleta to control. This nation is under auction. And if we are not careful, it is a matter of time before we go the Zimbabwean way. Nobody, hakuna haja tudanganyane hapa. Hii country ni watu wanauza, kila mtu anachukua yake. This person does not care about this nation. I'm urging my fellow youth, I'm urging every young people of this republic. If you don't take this with a pinch of salt and expect that this government, itakuja mahali itakusaidia. Right now as we talk, the lecturers, the doctors, the healthcare system, education, nothing is working. It is a matter of time. Na huyu mtu bado anaenda huko nje, anaenda ana loan. These loans, as we talk right now, as we speak, they are loans that were taken by Uhuru Kenyatta administration. Hizo loans zinaendelea kulipwa na hatujaijua hata tunalipa nini. I'm talking of the Euro bonds. I'm talking of everything. So we are just having a system that is, huyu mwizi mmoja anaingia, huyu mwingine anatoka. Huyu mwingine anaingia, anatoka. We cannot continue trusting these politicians with our country. Musipo tokelezea. Musipo make another 25th in this nation. But that one should be very different. To change this system. Then, tukae chini, tukubali, inchi iende, watoto wao wa benefit, because as we talk, they are busy positioning their children for leadership. You saw the other time, if I may ask you, huyu mtu anaitwa Shalin, using our taxes, where is it in the constitution there is an office? Going to the UN, positioning herself as the youth leader of this nation, who I don't remember me or any other person appointing Shalin to speak for me in those platforms. But you can see it is a deliberate move by these politicians to crop their children, to make it is just yani mimi nasikiaga tu nimechoka, but we will not tire, we will not give up. Someday these politicians will pay. Hiyo manyumba, hiyo pesa mmestash abroad. And as I finish, something interesting happened in Machakos. A governor looted the county, went and stashed money abroad, came back, bought a few wananchi to clap for her as she comes back. Please, my people, if this is the mentality that we are going to continue having in our brains, then it will take a very long time for us to liberate and come out of the situation. We are tuko mahali pabaya sana. Maybe the symptoms are yet to manifest. But wacha niwaambie as a country tuko mahali pabaya. Toria.
Yes, try landing. Malizia.
I'm done. Kama kibuza hajajibu, sio kama bado hapo.
Ni kama ametoka kidogo, but let me tell you one thing. In this country, we are told Kenya is a democratic country, and I keep saying that the democracy itself, it's a word in dictionary in Kenya. It has never been practiced. We're not allowed to practice our democracy. Democracy is for the rich in Kenya. Democracy is for the politicians in Kenya. The law, the poor have no say about what is democracy. So forget about democracy for now. The need for civic education is really on demand, because when people come together and bring their minds and they understand that these politicians are just trying to paint them by giving them 100 shillings to go and celebrate them, they have done this and that, yet they are looting our money. I think we will be in a greater positions as Kenyans to change our country. KOT are emphasizing on the ground, which is civic education in different counties, different areas. Mabonga is from Bugoma. Mabonga went to Kutingiza Mrima. I appreciate that. Mbona kwenda Bugoma? Because anajaribu kukil kitu ya tribalism. We are one Kenya, one nation. Mbona kwenda Bugoma akaenda Rift Valley? I don't know Bugoma ama iko Rift Valley, uko ni kwa Wakale. Kwa sababu tunataka tumalize hii kitu ya mtu wetu. We need to educate people. Civic education itatusaidia as much as possible. Jule mse wa mashinani understand what we inquire or what this government is doing against our will. Trust me, siku yenye tutasema let's go to the streets, mtu atatoka hata bila kusikiza mwingine. You know, the problem is that unakuja unapewa sorry for that. Unakuja unapewa 100, then you go ahead singing like Wavinya is the best, and tomorrow you are suffering. Mtu ameharibu pesa yenye ingekutengenezea barabara. Ameloot pesa yenye ingepeanwa kama CDF kwa shule. I saw this country is so, sijui niseme ni wicked ama ni crooked ama what, like the leaders there. How can you bribe someone so that you can impeach a person, yet you are bringing foreigners to come and run our airport? You have the money to bribe people, you don't have the money to repair the airport. It's really crazy. I don't want to think about it. You have money to buy national dresses, you don't have money to repair our airport. And this shift whatever thing, It's a scam, for Christ's sake. We lost 360 million in NHIF last month before. Nobody is talking about it. They are forcing us to go and register NHI or whatever, SHIF. What is SHIF, for Christ's sake? What is the issue with the NHIF? Watu wa mashinani utapata mtu ameenda tu kuregister juu gava imesema register. Juu gava ilisema italipia mtu 300 mwenye ana janda. Really? Are we gonna fall for the same tricks, for the same lies? We give them a great opportunity to loot more and more. We give them an opportunity to press us in a corner where hatuwezi jitoa. And let me ask this. I used to pay for NSSF, like nilikuwa nakatwa salary ya NSSF. Sijaiona hiyo pesa inatoka. Okay, sijazeeka bado kiasi inaweza anza kutoka. But I have relatives wamekuwa wakilipia hiyo kitu. That money haijaitoka. It takes a long period kitambo itoke. Na to some extent unaweza kosa kuipata. Is there a way? KOT, are you there? KOT, question na direct kwako.
Ndakumza question ya NSSF na mimi sijai andikwa mahali jamani.
Wewe fikiria tu nijibu. Is there a way tunaweza disconnect? Mimi walai nimekatwa salary kwa NSSF na nimeona like wakoro wangu wamekuwa NSSF, do hazijaitoka hizo maganji after wamefikisha hizo hizo miaka. So hiyo do inaendanga wapi? Alafu let me ask you, is there a way tunaweza kata hii kitu juu NSSF definitely ina benefit gava? Si huyu mwenye anakatangwa ina benefit gava. Me I would suggest hata we stop. Eri sasa mfungwe a foundation ama muite nini whatever, mkwe mnaeka pesa yenu hapo, sikuna records. Like si wanataka ku-privatize vitu. Let's also hata sisi to privatize vitu zetu because it's crazy, man. This government is really driving us crazy. Hiyo pesa inaendanga wapi? Hii NHIF, hakuna mtu ameulizia hiyo 360 million yenye ilipotea ati due to typing error. For Christ's sake, kwa nini shilingi 100 imepotea? We cannot allow that in our country. Then they wanna push to register SHIF. Mi hata niulize shushu wangu unaambiwa register SHIF. SHIF ni nini? SHIF ni nini? Hata ajui hiyo SHIF ni nini. Nitamwambia ni nini, for Christ's sake. Kuna watu wako na sijui SHIF, kuna wengine watakuwa na NHF, sijui kuna wengine wako na Mama Linda ama nini. Like we are so divided, distracted. This government is looking for every opportunity to loot. Kama ni NHF, let's stand for NHF. We need clarification kwanza before we move a step forward. Hii 360 million ilienda wapi? Tuleteni hiyo typing error. Mwenye aliweka hiyo typing error, bro, kuja ulipe hiyo do. Ndo tufikiria ama tutachange from sijui NHF to SHIF, Shasho, whatever. Like you can't be making decisions oppressing us like ni kama hatuna midomo za kuingia. This too much, man. It's too much. So, hebu mniambie hiyo pesa ya NSSF inaendanga wapi? Mimi niko na swali. Professor amerudi. Ras. Professor, there was someone who had a question for you. I think you can answer. Na pia unijibu hiyo yangu ya NSSF because I really find it like it's kinda our money is being looted even in the NSSF sector because una save do ukifika 60 years ukiretire. I think after retirement that's when you should start chukuaring hiyo pesa kidogo kidogo. But utakaa ukae hautaipewa hiyo pesa. Unakaa hata miaka 10 no. Ama ina apply to some employees. Lol, wale employee wa huko chini hawa majua na me, I don't get it. Please make me understand. Professor, the mic is yours. Please.
Asante Toria, hata nilikuwa karibu kulala lakini kwa sababu ya jinsi Ras ameuliza nafikiri ni vizuri kujaribu kumjibu. Ndio, I can appreciate the anger, the disappointment and all that Ras feels, and it's not just him alone but very many young people in our country, the majority, this 70% of the population. Lakini what you guys are doing now, that is in terms of a different way of organizing. Yes, there was the street organizing, and one is not saying that, Article 37 of the Constitution cannot be recoursed to again because that's a constitutional right. People have the right to demonstrate, to picket, to do all those things for issues that they believe are important. But, change comes when enough people are sensitized so that they can see the need for it and they can participate in making it to happen. Even countries like Bangladesh, like whichever countries where people have in mass, come up and said we want change. It is because there was, tons of organization undertaken so that they couldn't be resisted. So what I would tell the young people of my country, as somebody who has been in the 90s in these struggles, in the 90s, there wasn't the kind of civic education or political education or people's education that you guys are doing, so that, these issues went to the very, very, very grassroots. Because Moi was very brutal and he prevented us, from doing civic education. I remember we would go places, the police would be there, and we would just sit the whole day until we came back to Nairobi without, talking to police people, sometimes sharing bread and Fanta with police people who are guarding us so that we can't go and those days it wasn't inject. We didn't have that word, but in your language, inject among the people. So it was in the churches that, sometimes we were allowed to do so and so on. So I think these strategies that you're doing, and even, seeking vote power, the street power, all the mixture of all these things, it's innovation. And it is something that one must encourage so that you build the momentum instead of saying, okay, now, we are going to find a bypass which is not necessarily supported by the mass of the people. So I think one can simply say organize, so that the change becomes kind of organic and it is real and it is sustainable. But I like the analysis of Ras in terms of the issues, really knowing what the issues are, simplifying those messages when you do now the civic education or political education, simplifying the message. Like if it is those things of ISO agriculture, ISO Sharia's agriculture, somebody simplifies them, what they exactly mean. Like even that airport thing, how the relative was told in simple ways, the things that touch their lives. So that now it's civic education on, the health thing. If account is not working properly, things that are very real. And that is what makes the change to happen, what the corruption is doing and all that kind of stuff. NSSF, there used to be a lot of money in NSSF, the collections of people. And it was actually used to buy land of people, and it was major scandals of corruption around NSSF. And up to now, that is why NSSF has never kind of recovered, and people keep on paying. And when it comes to now the social security that is guaranteed even in the constitution, people take very long to get paid, and they get paid, peanuts. So again, those are the things that you need to bring out and things that will need to be corrected. Because as you are doing this work of injecting, you are building a manifesto of the correct things that will be done. And I like the fact that the young people are saying we want to do things according to the constitution. We want to do things according to the law, because, the demonstrations are according to the law.
Oh, we lost Professor. Too bad. Professor, kindly check on your network and please be back. I'm so eager to get my answer. I'm so eager. And I see that the SHA chief thing has been compromised. As you can see, I've put something on the Jumbotron. How can you register? Then after 2 days, you've not added any dependents. Then after 2 days, you got a kid as a dependent. This thing is really corrupt system. Like, for Christ's sake. Corruption is everywhere. Even sleeping nowadays, if you need sleep, you need corruption to acquire it. For Christ's sake. Mweru.
I had a question for the doctor when he comes back. So I'm just gonna wait until he comes back and then I'll ask a question. Because I mean, we all know anything that this government initiates is just a route to steal money. There's nothing that comes or that is introduced by any Kenyan government that is of any genuine interest for the public. So anytime you see something coming up, just know it's another route to steal. There's no way that any Kenyan is going to benefit. So, I mean, I'm just going to wait for him to come back because I had a quick question for him. But in the meantime, we do have some speakers that have been here for quite a while. So I'll have Mwangi speak and then Kazi.
Thank you, Mweru, and thank you, everyone. I hope you guys can hear me.
Yes, we hear you. Proceed, please.
All right. I think I have for so long been following these spaces for a number of months now. I've never gotten a chance to speak. So I am happy that I was patient enough and you guys have accorded me the mic. I will be very brief, but I also I am angry enough, but I don't want to go overboard. I feel right now we should balance between anger and trying to do some solutions and spend much of our energies on what is solution oriented. And so as a young man, I happen to be an agronomist and I deal with farmers. I come from Nyeri, but I have lived with farmers in Meru for around 8 years now. And one of the things that I have learned from last year when there was an issue, 2023, when there was an issue in iTeams about avocado farmers, and of course even milk, because most of the cooperatives really suffered in paying the farmers because they had to use iTeams for them to be able to transact. So avocado farmers, they had problems selling their avocados from last year. And of course, this year they have been able to sell, but it was also with a lot of challenges. And now the issue with the farmers has persisted up until now, where we have very oppressive and punitive bills. Of course, I know I have tried to chat KOT and others to see whether I can be able to get the bills, because personally I directly deal with many groups of farmers. In a week, I see more than 600 farmers or so. So, and with all that, I have been doing a lot of civic education, including today being on a Saturday. I was still having a few people that I was engaging. And I would say this, I feel if you have knowledge, it is power. If you have a voice that you can be able to communicate, because I believe personally as David, I am a leader. So what I am doing is I am teaching farmers about those punitive bills, like the Horticultural Crop Authority bill, and the effect that it has on our farmers. And I can tell you the ground in Meru, because I traverse several constituencies, the ground in Meru is really ripe for change. Actually, most of the elderly people that I have met in those groups, because they happen to be the ones that we meet in the groups, they will tell you that, young man, you are telling us that. Show us the person who we should elect as our member of parliament, because at the end of the discussion in the closure, the person who is responsible for making bills that are going to be favorable to the farmer is the member of parliament. And as an agronomist, I feel our parliament for the many years it has been misrepresented. We elect lawyers, we elect doctors, we elect teachers, we elect other professionals, but we don't elect representatives of farmers. And in as much as we keep on arguing that agriculture is the backbone of our economy, it is one of the fields that is the most poorly managed. It is the one of the fields the Ministry of Agriculture has the most illiterate people. When we go for field days or when we meet farmers, you hear a presentation from a very senior officer from the Ministry of Agriculture. You wonder whether they did agriculture in the 1970s. You hear the kind of nutrition they teach the farmers. I want to tell us it is sad. You hear they still encourage people to harvest 3 bags per acre for beans, whereas technology has evolved. Other better practices, agricultural practices have come up. A farmer can be able to get up to 13 or even 16 bags per acre for beans or something like that. But the person who happens to be in charge of agriculture, they are least informed about agriculture. The practices they do and teach our farmers, they are practices that will never liberate our farmers. And so therefore, personally, as an agronomist, I strongly feel we need young people who are going to go and vie for positions for parliament. Today, our parliament is having serious problems. And why we have very serious problems is because the parliament has been taken away by the executive. I ask for a case. What would happen to this country if Ruto happens to win again in 2027? I strongly feel this country would go down. But I feel there is a way. If he actually happened to win and we had new faces in parliament, that parliament can impeach him. That parliament can fail to adhere to his wishes. And so I strongly feel, in as much as young people we keep on saying that he can steal election, he cannot steal for every member of parliament. So can everybody rise up? If you feel you have the muscle enough, go and vie to be a member of parliament. We need new faces in parliament. And you guys don't believe it, I will be in the list of people who come from different areas elected as a member of parliament in Meru. I will not disclose where, but I have been asked by many groups that I go, David, you are telling us about the water bill for the 2023 that has oppressed farmers and has made them to be asked to put meters by Warma and Rua. So they have to be paying water per cubic meter. That's a bill that was passed last year. And it is being implemented. Circulars have been issued to the water project group leaders to have the members, waters or projects that they started by their own initiative, they are now being charged. Yet, we had members of parliament who know most of the farmers use that water for consumption and also for irrigation. So, if a farmer is doing 2 acres of probably potatoes, and they are being charged water per cubic meter, and we know how the market prices normally fluctuate, what happens to that farmer? Who cares about them? Talk about the horticultural crop and authority bill that, according to my total summation, a farmer is supposed to pay around 97,000 for you to get the licensing, not counting the bribing for you to be allowed to do that if that bill by Sabina Chege happens to pass. And as I made all these presentations to the farmers, most of them ask me, who is supposed to help us? Why is Ruto pushing us? And I tell them, the problem is even not Ruto. The problem is your member of parliament. When that bill was being proposed, he was supposed to rise up and say, this is going to oppress my people. But because those people do not care about farming, they don't do farming. They are like Medeka, who I happen to have passed by his shamba. And let me tell you, a whole minister of agriculture who has the machinery, who has the agrochemicals, he controls everything, including the fertilizer, is harvesting 4 tons of onion per acre. While somebody like me, David, who is harvesting 20 or so tons of onion per acre, who is supposed to be the CS for agriculture, a 4-tonner CS or a person who is not known but is harvesting 20 tons per acre, who is supposed to be the CS for agriculture. So I strongly feel we are wrongly represented in parliament. And the young people, my fellow young people, I want to beseech you. You do not know me by face. But I want to beseech you. It is up to you to feel the burden. You go back to the community. It doesn't matter. People today are not caring. In Meru, people don't care whether I come from Kikuyu or wherever. They are asking me, David, if that is the agenda and you are going to go and cause to have us to have an amendment bill against the water bill, against these other punitive bills in agriculture that are being raised, if we can be able to reverse this process, then come, we will vote for you. And when that member of parliament tries to come with money, we will ask him where was he when the water bill was being passed. And so, my fellow young people, I beseech you, rise up, come out of comfort, come out of fear, and we are the leaders of today. The other thing I want to say is about the medical thing. My spouse happens to work in a hospital, so I know a few things about the hospital and this SHA thing that is being propagated. And she tells me, because she is in charge of probably the patient who she deals mainly with patients with hypertension. 17 out of 200, over 270 patients who go to that hospital are the only ones who are registered in the old NHIF. So the other people who she attends to do not have that registration for NHIF. Yet when they go to that hospital, she attends to them and they get services. Today, they are being told that if somebody has not registered with 300 shillings, is denied access to a medical practitioner. Is that really justice? Have this country sunk so low to a point of denying people medical access, even at their point of need? What will happen to that patient who goes as a result of accident and they have not registered for SHA? What will happen to them? Because they have been given iPads and whatever to register them. So what happens to such a person? My fellow young people, this country has sunk the deepest. But I feel there is nothing much we can be able to do at the level of sinking that we are in. But there is something we can do. Position yourselves. Let new faces fill in that parliament. Let us go to those villages. Talk to as many people as we can. People nowadays are not looking at us with our faces of tribe. They're asking, you Gen Z led us very well. Where did you go? And by the way, that issue of us being leaderless is a very serious problem. Can you arise at your jurisdiction and arise as a leader? Tutapatana huko mbele. If we meet in parliament with you, I know my agenda will be making sure that agricultural bills are well represented because I have the knowledge on agriculture. And so that is my presentation, and I am grateful for the moment that you guys have given me. Thank you.
Okay, kindly thank you, and please, when you pick up the mic, use at least a maximum of 3 minutes. We got a lot of people and we need to hear their ideas. And I want to pose this question to you. Whoever can answer it, please go ahead and answer it. It's about the bill. We have these CSs who are in charge of CS for sports, CS for health, CS for defense, CS for agriculture. So let me ask you this. Sabina Chege is a women rep ama ni nini? I don't know. So
She's a nominated
she
member
goes
of parliament.
okay, nominated. She goes ahead and poses a bill about horticulture that I think it is in agricultural part, if I'm not wrong. The CS of agriculture, I think he goes ahead and accepts his tu ako tu. Ikipoziwa tu anapitisha kupitisha. Does he resonate with the people? Like, I think some things zinafaa kuwa zinatoka kwa CS of agriculture. CMP ingekuwa sasa tunapigana na CS wa agriculture ndo amepose hii bill, it will be making some sense. A nominated MP whereby we sent you to represent our voice, you go ahead and kill that voice that we sent you to represent. Instead of talking for us, you pose some unreachable, unaffordable, bills that we cannot withstand. It's like you are telling us, you are pressing the button to kill us more. So let me ask you, before apitishe inakwanga huyo CS wa agriculture anajua ama me I don't understand how things work in this country. Like, it's really corrupt, hata ina system hata kidogo. So Kazi, go ahead and please kindly take 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, na raise my hand.
1 second. Before Kazi accepts the mic, I see Professor is back. Professor Kibwana, if you don't mind accepting the mic, because we have a few questions that would like to hear your perspective on.
Kazi, go ahead as Professor comes up. 3 minutes strictly.
Okay, thank you so much, Toria. I hope you guys can hear me well, right?
Yeah, you are very much audible.
Okay, thank you so much for giving me this chance. So, I'm Joseph, but I call myself Kazi Rais because I have an entity by the name Kazi Rais Agency. And, right. Somebody behind, I think, is talking, right?
Just a minute, okay. Please. Just a minute. Manasseh, please don't open your mic when someone is talking. It's causing some echo, please, kindly. So, Kazi, go ahead. 3 minutes. Just wait for your time. You'll be given your time you talk, kindly.
All right. I'll be I'll be very brief, and actually, I'm very glad because I've been following some kind of some of these conversations that you guys have been having, and I really I'm very glad because I think we are taking actually we are shaping up. Okay, mine is very short, because to my own thinking and to my own opinion, each and every person has his or her own opinion. What I think is we need to sit down, strategize. That is number one, strategy. Then the other thing, we need to sit down and also know what is the cause of all this. For me, I believe the reason as to why we are having so much of these things, starting with our leaders, they are colliding. All guys, as in like all these people, wherever they are, whatever they are doing, there is a reason as to why they are doing all this. For me, I believe it's all about corruption. Corruption have been there for quite some time. It's a menace. It has been talked about because, like apparently, as we talk about our leaders, apparently what they are doing is all about corruption. I remember very well. There was a time I was talking to some people, and we were trying to converse in terms of how is the progress and what is not going well in our country. When you talk about corruption, our former president, that's Mr. Uhuru. For me, I believe Uhuru did his best, and he was the first president. He was the first president to deal with the 2010 Constitution. And 2010 Constitution, it was a proposed constitution from Mr. Kibaki. And if I'm not very wrong on this, I remember Mr. Kibaki said 80% of our new constitution 2010 is okay. But I think what you guys, after piloting and after going through about the constitution, if you think that there are some changes that you need to change, it's about 20%. And that is when these guys they sat down in terms of referendum and so on. There was the banana side, the orange side, and so on. But I remember very well, oranges they wanted to maybe to put in their own interest. Bananas the same, and they were unable to do that. So up to date, we have never made any kind of change in our constitution, and that is why some of these things that, let alone that they came to find that there are some things that are somehow challenging. The thing that actually my point that I'm trying to put across is the 2010 constitution. The first aim, the first objective of the 2010 constitution it was all about employment, and it did, because when you talk about MCAs, all the way up to our president, women rep, senators, governors, and so on, all those are categories of people holding offices. They have people on the ground, they have staffs on the ground, and all those people, they are working. So basically it did. But the main problem is once these people, they were provided, or else they were given that chance by the constitution, they never implement. Actually, in terms of implementing our constitution the way it's supposed to be, they did it, and apparently they are doing it in the wrong way. So for me, we need to sit down as the young generation. There was a time I was thinking of this, because I have just heard the prior speaker saying that Mr. Mwangi, that is, saying that we need to. This is not the high time to think of our problems, but I think it's the high time that we need to sit down, know what are the solutions. In terms of corruption, okay. All right. Okay. Can you hear me, you guys?
Yeah, I'm saying you wind up.
Okay. Okay. So let me just a minute. I wind up. So I was talking in terms of our constitution. What we need to do, okay, or else what I think, what we need to sit down as Gen Zs or else the young generation, we need to have a change. Hao wabunge wetu ndio wanatengeneza sheria, and then wanapelekea president or else the executive to do the signing and so on. Then it's handed over to judiciary. So ikiwa hawa wabunge wetu ndio wanatengeneza sheria na ndio wako na pesa yenye inajiita CDF, ndio wako na ile pesa nyingine inajiita ile ya basari, on a serious note, in terms of if we talk about eliminating corruption, they cannot stand maybe in those seats and say that we need to eliminate corruption because they are the first people. So basically, not unless we start from the parliament or else the lawmakers, because that is where the challenge is. That is where we need to check all this. So thank you so much for that, and I think maybe later on or else next time we shall share more, because we need to discuss more of this as a nation. Thank you so much.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Gloria.
Yes.
Gloria. Okay, I just want to say something then. Nilale, yeah. Sisi huku.
Mbia mute mic yake iko na echo. Okay, good. Sawa, go ahead, Dave.
Sisi huku kunaitwanga aje, bonde la ufa, wala mjui Kiswahili. Huku Rift Valley kunaitwa bonde la ufa. Yeah, currently in Rift Valley it's 41 minutes past midnight. And so mnajua kesho we need to wake up. Hata ni leo sio kesho. We need to wake up early in the morning and proceed with the injection. The injection whatever. Yeah. And so guys, hacha sasa mimi niwaambie story kidogo tu. Bana, jana tumetoka Nairobi saa ngapi? Tulitoka Nairobi saa 8. Tulifika Kisii saa 4 usiku. And we spent their time. And mimi, I got some guys from this space and they joined me. Walisema wanataka kukuja tuende. And even say as we speak, there is this guy called Voice of Tongaren. Tulimuacha. Lakini ameniambia yako kwa gari. Ameamua kupanda gari kutoka Nairobi ya kuja tupate. So, Voice of Tongaren, sitaki kulala before ufike. And we have a few who are even on these speakers that wenye niko nao hapa saizi kwa hii room. Yeah. Wewe jamaa anaitwa Manase, tuko naye hapa. Sijui mbona alikuwa anafungua mic. And so guys, bana leo kuna jamaa alikuwa amenipea gari the other day. Alafu aniambia nitafute number plate yangu nijiweke. Nikaona ni trap, so we never did that. We got a friend who offered the car. Yeah, sasa sawa kuja pole pole. Mshafika na sawa. Sasa jamaa, guys, this is my request. Hiyo namba iko hapo, tumia hata 10 bob. Tutanunua mafuta na toke kwa gari na tuendelee na safari kesho. Honestly leo tulikuwa tumekwama. Niliwapostia hapa. I posted for you guys and wengine mlisema niuze gari ninunue mafuta. Hiyo gari sio yangu. See, I told you guys I don't have a car. I don't own any car in this nation. Toria umeniuliza mambo ni NSSF. I've never been employed anywhere. And so guys, this is my kind request. I rarely do this. Please spare your coin to that number and it will help us to do the civic education journey tomorrow. Of course, I thank those who have sent me a few coins. And be sure that kama mafuta itajaa, tutakula nayo lunch. And we'll proceed with what we are doing. And so, honestly, hata hapo venye tuko, we are how many guys in this room? We are 5. Hii room tumelipa 3,000 pandani. Hata wanacheka. Yeah. Sisi tuko 5 hapa because ni tunatosha kwa kale kagari kadogo, 2 mbele 3 nyuma na we proceed. And so hata kama uko na 100 wewe tuma hapo. Mimi naye mimi nitawaambia tu kweli. We want you a few coins. We really want you a few coins. So just do that honestly. Lakini mimi nataka kulala. I leave this space to Toria bana, ukichoka na Mweru just call na hiyo line yangu. Nimeweka ringtone juu itaniamusha. Alafu ni close up the space. Voice of Tongaren, ukifika penye nimekupinia location bana nipigie simu. So back to you Toria.
KOT.
No, but upatie Manase kwanza. Upe Manase kwanza niongee before lala. Yes.
Sawa basi. Farah tulia.
No, I want to say something to KOT before he goes.
Nasema aje Farah?
Nilikuwa nasema as you mkikoin message yenu to the people kesho. Bonde la Ufa is majoritarily watu wakulima. Talk to people like huyu jamaa Mwangi wa nyanya ambao wanaelewa mambo ya ukulima. Waeleze watu kwa lugha ambayo wanaelewa. Unaelewa? That the agricultural sector is under threat. Coin the message to the people. Ikuwe yani kila mahali mnaenda message ni ya watu na jamii ambayo mmeendea. Si kila mahali mnaenda kusema the same things. Watu wa bonde la Ufa kitu ambayo itawaathiri ni the agricultural sector majoritarily. Thank you.
Okay, sawa. So patia Manase aongee bwana, na mkiona kuna echo inatoka hapa juu ako karibu na mimi. Manase.
Sawa, ati kiwetia hizo gani?
Hello guys. Okay, my name is Manassas Muridi. I'm here with KOT. We are injecting on the ground, and I've just been listening to the conversation, and I wanted to maybe add on a few things. I would like to say we are faced with a very tough time as Kenyans right now, and to a large extent, the people that are to blame for the situation that we are in are the youths themselves. And the reason I'm saying this is because for far too long we've sat on the fence and we have avoided politics, we refused voting, and we left politics to our parents. And the decisions they made for us, they made the decisions that they know best, which was start with their tribal kingpins. They voted along tribal lines and they protected the politicians along tribal lines, usiguze mtu wetu. And that's the reason why politicians have become very powerful at the moment. It's because our parents, the ones we left voting, the ones we left the decision of voting to them, they gave these politicians so much power that they became untouchable. And that's why they are doing whatever they can and they don't care. They have refused to be servants. They are not servants now. We are the ones like who are supposed to abide by their laws. So I'm happy we are waking up, and it's just a sad reality that it took so long for us to wake up. And my only the only thing that I can ask for us as youth is to stand up. Time is right. We are not the leaders of tomorrow anymore. We are the leaders of today. We are the leaders of now. And it's time for us to fix our mess. Because this is our mess, we are the people who are suffering most because we avoided politics and we know politics control everything. And now we have to suffer and fight back to get back our country. I am doing everything I can. We have been with Morara. We are working so hard on the ground. We have been moving around. We have been sacrificing our own resources. We don't have money to move around, but we are using the few coins we have to go to the ground and talk to the people and explain to them the situation that we are in as a country and how we can come out of the mess. And so it's been a tough time, but it's something that I'm ready to do, and it's something that we can't afford to not support. So to my fellow youth, I just want to urge you to wake up and fight for this country. The solutions that we want, the solutions to our problems are in our hands. We have the power to elect good leaders, because the only solution we have right now is to chase the corrupt people. And the only way we can sweep the system clean is by sending every one of them, each one of them home. by 2027, we take them home, we replace them with new people, and I'm urging youths to be there. When that time comes, I want you to be fighting for those positions. Personally, I was a candidate for MP Moya, and I did all the best I could. We know people from Central voted along tribal lines. They were supporting UDA, and I wasn't a candidate for UDA. Neither was I a candidate for ODM, because I didn't believe in their way of politics, and so I decided to go as an independent candidate. And I'm just asking you to show up, support us, support those of us that are in this movement. Support us with everything you can. Take the civic education to the grassroots yourselves, And I hope we'll talk more another day because we are already feeling a little bit sleepy. So I would guess there until we can have another time to maybe share a few other things. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Mute your mic, please. Thank you. The today's Haki Manasseh, please. Today's topic is about grassroots civic education. Hashtag Ruto must go. We have Mabonga's number there. Kindly, guys, let's support him and the team to fuel gari yao tafadhali. The number is 0710452543, please. 0710452543. Tuma 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 itasaidia sana and it will be highly appreciated. You'll have contributed to building this nation because you're supporting the people who are going on the ground to inject and educate people on why we are against bad governance and how this government is oppressing us directly and indirectly. Your contribution will be highly appreciated. Yote Bob unaona ni kama ni kidogo itasaidia sana. So please usifeel ashamed, isiku hold back, just do it for your nation. Be a true patriot. To support Mabonga. 0710452543. That's the number. Italeta jina Marvin Mabonga. Aka KOT Sonko. Real Joe. Hey, pick it up and please take the shortest time as possible. We want to hear everyone's voice and grassroots civic education. So take us through it.
Thank you, Toria. First of all, maybe allow me to answer a question that you had raised. I did not hear anybody answer it about the CS and you were talking about the CS and the MP trying to set up laws, something like that. You asked such a question, right?
Okay, let me clarify it. It's not literally the MPs alone because there's some senators bring on board some issues that citizens, mwananchi wa kawaida cannot withstand. So we have the CS. What's the work of those CSS if these people go ahead and bring unbearable bills that we cannot withstand and they are just quiet?
Okay, thank you, Toria. First of all, you need to understand that our Constitution, Article 94, Clause 5, says that no person, nobody other than Parliament has power to make provisions having the force of law. So only members of Parliament have been given that role to come up with the laws as per our Constitution. So the CS can do nothing, and the CS and the member of Parliament don't get in touch when it comes to legislation. But the same Article 94, the first clause talks about the legislative authority, which is supposed to be derived from the people of Kenya. And therefore, any law that a member of Parliament is supposed to come up with in Parliament is supposed to derive from the people of Kenya. So just as you have raised the concern, yes, those legislations that they come up with, they don't derive from the people. And you've heard Mwangi, who is a farmer, talking about those bills, those bills that are being brought in Parliament. They don't derive from the people. They don't even resonate with the farmers. So that is quite unfortunate thing that is happening in our country. So the problem is with the legislatures. They come up with the laws that don't derive from the people. I hope I've answered you, Toria.
Yeah, thank you. My question is quite answered.
Okay, so grassroots civic education is a very important thing. And actually, our Constitution asks us in Article 3 that we need to defend this Constitution. Actually, it asks us to respect, uphold, and defend this Constitution. Part of doing this is grassroots civic education. What Kina Keoti are currently doing is creating awareness about things that are happening in our country, which is very, very important. It is because I tell you what, when this Constitution was being brought up, the politicians drove the agenda and people never even cared to read, understand what this Constitution has in place for us? How good is it? What does it have? Any shortcomings from this constitution and things like that? When the politician said it is good, people voted for yes. I'm not saying the constitution is bad, but it was not a concept that the people did not read. Not so many majority of Kenyans read to and understood the constitution and saw the importance of it. It was a narrative pushed by politicians. So that is why now, over the past few months, we have become more enlightened. We are talking about these things every day. We are talking about the constitution every day. So this civic education in the grassroots is very important. And you see, most of the problems that we have as a country is lack of awareness from majority of Kenyans. You see, the biggest problem currently in our country, and everybody who talks in this space has tried to articulate this to the current legislature. That is the biggest problem. We are talking about Auditor General's report. If we cannot have an Auditor General just giving out reports, because Article 299 asks the Auditor General is supposed to give reports and submit to Parliament. Parliament is then supposed to take action. You see some of the exposés that Morara has been giving, so majority of them he gets from the Auditor General reports. That is so absurd. If we can have those in Auditor General's report and we are not seeing action being taken. Parliament is supposed to review, debate, and take action on those Auditor General, on those reports. Misappropriations of funds in millions, but Parliament is doing nothing. So our biggest problem is the Parliament. This Parliament is supposed to derive from the people, just like I've said before, as per Article 94. And therefore, anything that directly affects the people, the Parliament is supposed to take action on that. And Parliament has been given a role, Article 95, to review conducts of everybody, president, deputy president, and all the state officers. So the Parliament is the weak link in our country, because we cannot have, and that's why most of the people right now are talking about young people taking up these roles, because that is the first place we go in. That is the first place we fix the Parliament. If we fix the Parliament, we solve more than 70% of our problems. That one I'll tell you for a fact. Because the current Parliament as they are, they know, and there's this narrative, I've had this narrative several times, and I don't like it. The narrative of opposition. Let us just stop that narrative completely. It is a political narrative that has been there, that has been peddled over the years. There's no such thing as opposition. In fact, even when the Constitution talks about these things like what is it called, the minority and majority, Article 108, party leaders, majority and minority, it does not really mean that minority is opposition. By the way, if you look at the current after elections, this Parliament, if we went with the way elections were, we would have had a majority side that was not with the government. Because ideally majority was supposed to be Azimio. Okay? We would have had that. But what happens? There's this other narrative that, let us join government. It's a fallacy. Parliament is government. It is an arm of government in itself. So there's that fallacy that we have joined government, they are in opposition. Those are political narratives. And that is what is affecting our country, because the president now goes and misuses the members of Parliament. That's why we are seeing we cannot have oversight. That's why we are seeing things like Adani are just coming up, surfacing and all that. There's always the previous regime and this regime, I'm seeing primitive accumulation of wealth. And they're competing for that. Uru and Ruto are competing for accumulation of wealth. They will steal. They will loot from us if we are not careful. They will loot. The Parliament is not assisting the people of Kenya. It is not even deriving from the people of Kenya. That is a problem that we have. So to defend this constitution, we have to go to the grassroots and provide civic education. That is the part, that is our defense mechanism of this constitution as Article 3. We go to the grassroots and provide as much civic education as is needed. And I like what Faraz said, that Kina Keoti, when they're going to the Rift Valley, they need to talk about things, agriculture and that. So when they go there, they need to resonate with the people, even them. They need to, you don't go there and tell them about things that are happening you tell them about things that are happening on their where they are, things that they are familiar with. That's how we get to the people. So as I land, the first solution we need to find a solution of fixing our parliament. We will solve most of our problems in this country. We will solve them. I'm sure. Anything to do with corruption, we'll solve. Misappropriation of funds, we'll solve. These draconian bills that we are seeing in parliament, we will solve if we get proper legislatures in parliament. Thank you very much, Tora, for the mark. I yield. Thank you.
Welcome, and I really support that. And I think as much as we're doing this grassroots civic education, we should also emphasize on political world education, because people think the bills are the issues. Most of the bills are the issues, and the wool. As far as you're saying that the wool government is our problem, the parliament, I said in another space that the parliament is where our problem lies. Because these bills, they are passed in the parliament, they are brought up in the same parliament. So how can we change this? We can change this by what? You and me standing vive on these seats, we replace them. We go there knowing that we're going there to speak the voice of the people, not what we want. The problem with these people is that they put their desires in front of the desires of people who sent them there to be represented. So thank you so much. We need a change, and change starts from us. That change is us, ourselves. So if you are capable of, if you feel like you can vie for any seat, Gen Zs, kindly, this is the time. You should be on the ground trying to teach people on civic education, emphasizing on them why they should do this and not that, why they should choose this path and not that path. Make them understand why we want to liberate our country, why we want to drain this swamp once and for all. So thank you so much, Real Joe. I support you. Fundi, hi. Fundi wa Dhamos.
Mambo. Toria.
Poa. Yes.
Umeendaje?
Tuko hapa tu tunajaribu grassroots ya civic education and trying to see how it's helping, how we can push it, how we can manage it. Yeah, and you guys remember hashtag ni Ruto must go, and you have Marvin Mabonga's number there. We support them for they are on the ground doing civic education and they need our support. Number ni 071045 2543 071045 2543. Your contribution is highly appreciated. Support them with whatever you have. We keep the injection and the movement alive. Civic education lazima tuiweke kila place. So Fundi, take it. And kindly, if you talked, drop so that I can bring new speakers on the speaker panel, please.
Okay. Anyway, it's good to see you guys. Mimi pia nimefurahi kuwa hapa late night. Wenye wako kwingine, good evening. Wa Kenya kumeendaje? Good after midnight. Grassroots civic education. Hii kitu ni muhimu sana. But mimi nataka kusema like Kenyans wacha kureact na emotions. I think Kenyans we so emotional. In that kitu yote ikikuja tu upepo kidogo tu kanapita na sisi. If we focus, if grassroots can make sense, like tukubali one thing, Kenya tuko tribal. Out of 10, you can't miss 2 when you're tribal. You can't miss 3, maybe half. Or maybe out of 10, 7 are tribal, 3 are not. So 3 have to change these other guys the way they think. Nimeangalia Rigiji akizunguka Murima. I'm like, tutatoboa kweli. And then turning this side naona Didym's baraza eti ameenda kuboma nyumba, kujengea mtu kwa nyumba ya mabati, and Kenyans will vote for you juu umejengea mtu. That's we so funny. So let's remember whatever game that is going on right now is to catch our attention, to divert from what we're focusing on to Rudy. And from my end, nasema like wametushika 50%. Kumbe government ni wajuaji. This thing, let's handle it like politicians, kind of grassroots, because let's play their game. Lakini tucheze hiyo ya civic. Kila mtu penye yako, let them do that work. Ikibidi tuseme basi nani mko wapi, niko hapa, you guys meet, fanya vile mnafanya, so that let's say kama timu ya kina Morara wakati tunazunguka, kama wanakuja Kisii, tunakuwa na event moja kubwa hapo Kisii Stadium. Tumehaya, tumefuata tu sheria vile nini, mnaenda kufanya nini, tunaenda kuongea. We just want to talk. Tunapatana, tunasema tumezunguka hizo vijiji, tumeambiana kwa hivi. So let's keep going. Juu politicians ni wajanja. I can tell you, nilikuwa nasema like Wakenya tumeanza kusahau. We almost forgetting. Kuna hizi vitu za Adani, SHA. Watu wameingia kwa rigiji. Those people were supporting ujamaa let him be impeached. Kuna wenye wanasema watu watoke. Kuna wenye wanasema wacha wamalize. So like they winning this game. Let's focus rigiji, tunamtoa hii kiti. Wakenya wanapeleka attention yote huko. And don't be surprised, rigiji might be impeached. That's me thinking that way. Do they want to play with our emotions? Tusahau kabisa. Because they know if they cannot keep us busy, tuendelea kudig, tumetoka reject finance bill, we won. Hata kama wengine walidedi. Same way, don't be surprised tukishinda hii kitu ya Adani. Tunaweza shinda. We almost there. So they wamefika point today like, if these guys are not kept busy, hatutapata kitu hapa. Maybe Trump is coming, I'm not sure. Maybe who knows what Ruto want to do in the US, wakiwa na kina Raila, niliona Moses Kuria. Those people want to make deals, maybe. Kama kuna pesa imepotea hivyo tu. Si tuko wapi, Rigiji na impeached. If Rigiji is impeached, watu nini hapo? Huyu jamaa labda anaenda kotini, wamrudishe hapo. And then kuonyeshana venye yeye ni shujaa, nasema I respect the courts. It might happen. That's just me thinking that way. Juu wamegundua when Wakenya, this generation, wanajua kufinya simu sana. They know to press these computers. Ruto alituambia finya computer upate $1. Amegundua he made a mistake. We should not be doing that. So guys, let's focus. Watu wafanye vitu zao. Let them even kill each other wakitaka. Let's not focus there. They'll do nasty things to catch our attention kabisa. So tuambiane ukweli and let's focus where we're going. Because sometimes I feel like watu wanaandika script ya hii Kenya. They might present to us two options. Now let's not lie to each other. We are Kenyans. Ikifika near elections, the majority, even the learned, surprisingly, your time unapatanga ubongo maybe melala, sometimes you uninstall your reasoning. So I feel like these guys want to give us two options in 2027. Choose either Rigiji or Ruto. What will we do? We are not prepared. Wametucheza tu. Rigiji nimeona kikula jaba. Same thing Ruto was doing, but sasa ni mapema, and they have a mission. So nisiongea sana, but what I'm saying, let's get focused and don't rule out options like years happen. This is politics, years happen. Like that mzee said, kuna ule jamaa alikuwa kwa moyo alisemanga, these guys are cousins. Na ma cousins we share hiyo nyama. Thanks.
Okay, welcome. We stay focused. Actually, these people are trying to divert and distract us from our focus or from what we are working towards. And our main goal is actually good governance. I think with good governance, we're going to have a conducive environment and a good Kenya. You know, I was asking the other day, why are people or these are, okay, I don't want to use the term leaders, they are dealers. Why are they so interested in pushing people to go abroad for works? I got a question. These niggers, if they were so, if these jobs were so good and so satisfying, instead of going for road shows, the space is a very good option to give this whatever, to advertise the jobs. People are in the spaces on daily basis from different parts, and you can advertise these jobs on the space to a large number in a very short time. If I'm not wrong, I think I'm right. Right, Real Joe? But nobody has ever stepped forward to come and explain in details what these jobs are about. They are just there. They want to go for road shows so that those people in the interior, they cannot understand what's going on. They just go ahead, get passports, be ferried, you go, you work, you die there, nobody bothers. Right now in Lebanon, there is a very, very great one. Nobody is minding. The CS have never talked anything about it. The notice was given earlier ahead. Nobody said anything about it. Like in Kenya, human life doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter. Anyway, that was not for now. Civic education. So let's not be distracted. Let's not be divided. Wakitaka kuimpichiana bana, it's none of our business. Waimpichiane na huko, watoane, wawekane. Aituhusu. Mweru, are you there? Mweru.
Yeah, I am here. I'm listening.
You listen.
I keep saying.
Let me ask you, I'm asking you this question. Do you think these things they are advertising in a road show, they want to attract the people from interior areas, because these people who are in towns and they are very much well educated about these ongoing trashes that they are doing. So they can't, if it were good things, they could have come in the spaces and explained that it will reach a large number very easily. But now they can't even talk. Ni kusema tu tunaenda road show, sijui what bullshit crap. So Mweru, please answer me and take it down. I'll be away for some minutes, though I'm listening.
I mean, they're all sideshows, like you said. I mean, if these jobs are so good and so great, I mean, I don't believe that those people from those countries would be having foreigners come and take them. So they're just shitty jobs. They're just basically exporting labor. And I'm pretty sure, if there's a way we can prove this, that they're probably making money out of it. I mean, we have all come to accept the reality and operate from an understanding that this government does not take any action or initiate any form of resolution that does not entail them at some point making money. So out of exporting people and sending people out there, I'm pretty sure they're making money too. But there's a speaker that spoke. His name was Mwangi. I really loved what you said. And I like the fact that you're encouraging young people to take up office. I keep saying this. We cannot be on the receiving end of things, and we are the majority. If you're 70% of the population, you're 40 million of you out of a population of approximately 54 million. We should not be on the receiving end. We should be the ones who are in leadership. There's a lot of things I love about this constitution, but the one thing I honestly do not appreciate is the fact that they refer to the youth as a marginalized group. The youth in Kenya is not a marginalized group. The youth in Kenya is the majority. And we should not be having to fight for some of these opportunities, like being included as a committee in the IEBC. No, we should not be the ones fighting for these opportunities. We are the freaking majority. So as we continue with this conversation, I appreciate people who realize the fact that the only way we're going to solve all these issues we're having in Kenya at the moment is if we take power and we take up those positions ourselves. Is it going to be an easy task? No. Are they going to make it challenging? Yes. Are they even going to threaten our lives? Yes, they will. Because they're obviously going to try as much as possible to defend these positions they have so they can continue stealing. But that should not, discourage us. It should encourage us to take up these positions. And David Mwangi, the farmer, like I said, I really appreciate your insight. We need to start thinking about taking up these positions. I counted the days, and I'm going to keep saying, right now as we're speaking, we have 1,042 days to the next election. I have been encouraging people, let's not refer to it as 2027 because maybe in our brains it registers as 2027 days. No, we have 1,042 days to go. So as we do this civic education everywhere we go, we need to encourage the youth to come out because, like I said, we need them to take up these leadership positions, and then we need to create a structure where we support each other. I mean, even if you come out as you want to vie for MP, vie for governor, there's fees that will be involved. There's a process that is going to be involved. So we have time now to start working on these things while we take up on other solutions, other means of solving the problem. So as we proceed, I mean, we have some speakers. Esther, are you still there? I know Esther is one of the speakers who's actually come out and said she wants to vie for MP. So how do we support Esther, who has come out and said she wants to run for MP? So Esther, please go ahead. If Esther is not there, I mean, Fundi, I see you have your hand up.
No, nilikuwa nataka kusalimia Toria before you go. I was just responding to Toria about why jobs huko nje. I can tell you from the political angle, Ruto can give you a job hata kupata za 1 million. Because did you see the power of the youth when they angry wakishikana mkono? I think you saw that on the 25th. He knows politicians wanajua the power of the youth. That's why maybe they're working on a plan. Let's tutoa watu Kenya tubaki na wazee. Wazee will never demonstrate. Just baba yako amezeeka uko kwa street. Eti Ruto anabadilisha katiba aongoze milele. They won't. Maybe they trying to create a way. Ndio maana juzi tena unasikiza like there is a motion to extend the presidency tenure 7 years. They just testing waters. But wanajua with the current generation is not a joke. Lazima like they be here. Na hiyo nyingine ilisema about vying. You want to be an MP or you just want to run. Because you can run and not win. You can vie and not win, but you have to win. Winning is not just by saying I will win or I want to vie. You have to sit down and say, hii kitu tutashinda aje? Because if we cannot defeat them at the top, let's make sure basi tukate miguu kabisa. Like MCAs, maybe we take 60%. Well, MPs, same. Senators, and maybe hawa watu wasigeuke tuwe na integrity. They can bring the president down. long as they focus, they don't lose track. Na hiyo tu, maybe if you have interest, marafiki wa kuchangia. You cannot invest 50 million and then ufanye kazi. Even we Kenyans, tumefanya wanasiasa wamekuwa uwezi sana. Yeah, thanks, Mweo.
Anthony, please proceed.
Asante sana co-host Mweru, asante Toria, asante KOT Sonko. Host, najua ulisema unaenda kulala, lakini sisi bado tunaendelea. Naunga mkono sana yote ambayo na wale, kwanza ni wasalimie wote ambao wanashiriki kwa hii kipindi popote mlipo nchini na hata nje. Nashukuru sana bidii ambayo tunaweka kushiriki hapa kila wakati, kila mara wakati tunaweza. Sasa nilikuwa nataka kuongelea jambo tatu kwa mjadala wa leo. Ya kwanza, naunga mkono wito ya kwamba sisi sote tujaribu kushiriki katika siasa na tuwanie viti vya bunge, kwa sababu hiyo ndio njia tu ya pekee tunayo ya kuleta mabadiliko ambazo tunazitafuta. Kitu ambalo ningependa sana kutilia mkazo katika bunge, kunayo katika katiba ya Kenya umuhimu wa public participation ambayo lazima tuiangalie kwa makini kabisa. Sababu gani? Ingawaje tutaingia bungeni, watu ambao wako na kipao mbele katika mazungumzo yote ama mjadala zote za bunge ni raia wa Kenya. Public participation ndio kingo ile raia tuko nayo katika bunge. Nakumbuka wakati Attorney General alikuwa akihojiwa, alikuwa akifanyiwa vetting, ilitokezea waziwazi ya kwamba hakuna regulations ambazo zina determine public participation inatakikana iwe na umuhimu gani. Kwa hivyo sote ambao tunajaribu kuingia katika uwanja wa siasa, lazima tu understand ya kwamba cha kwanza ni tuwe na regulations ambayo inaweka public participation kuwa the final determinant of all the debates, all the discussions that take place in our parliament. Tukiweza kuhakikisha hiyo, hata tukikosa kupata viti kuingia bunge ama nini, tutakuwa na usalama ya kutosha. Kitu ya pili, tukishatilia mkazo public participation na make sure kwamba imekuwa institutionalized, kuna mjadala ambao ulipitia hapo mbele kuhusu punitive bills, hizi ambazo zimekuwa zikiletwa kwa bunge kila kuchao. Kuna hizo bills, Sabina Chege ametajwa kwa moja, kuna zingine pia zinaingizwa kwa njia nyingi tofauti. Kwa ukweli, hizi bills zote zilikuwa part of the rejected finance bill 2024. Hizo bills zilikuwa kuna livestock bill, kuna nini bill. Na vile hiyo finance bill ilikuwa rejected na zinajitokezea katika civic education, lazima tutaje kabisa ya kwamba hizi bills zote ambazo zinaletwa ni zile ambazo vijana walisimama na wakapoteza maisha zao na zikaangushwa chini, na sasa Sabina Chege analeta hii, mbunge mwingine analeta hii. Lazima to make that connection. We must draw the dots between the lines. Now all these bills are originating from the IMF World Bank hold on the Kenya government. Sababu World Bank inasema tutawapatia msaada, ndio, lakini nyinyi wenyewe lazima tafute njia tofauti za raise funding, complement pesa ambazo tunawapatia. Na vile nilisema hapa juzi, kunayo arrangements, kunayo plan ya World Bank kurudi, na kwa hivyo watawekea mkazo kabisa kureintroduce hizi bills tena. Mnakumbuka waziri wa Treasury alisema ya kwamba watajaribu kureintroduce finance bill ati iko na kuna ingredients, kuna contents ambazo ziko nzuri. Ndio hizi wanazileta, na hakuna uzuri wowote ambazo hizi bills wakina Sabina Chege wanaleta, na lazima tuzireject. Wakati public participation itafika, wakati itabidi tuulizwe kama raia kama tulihusishwa kwa kutunga hizo bills. Kama Sabina Chege alizunguka akachukua maoni yetu, na lazima tusimame kwa dhati, tuzipinge kabisa, na tuwakumbushe ya kwamba hizi ndio zile bills zilifanya tukawa na mambo ambayo yalitokea katika Kenya mwezi wa 6. La tatu na la mwisho ambayo nataka kuongelea ni SHIF na SHA ambayo inakuja kureplace NHIF. Kwa kusema ukweli kabisa, sababu ya hii SHIF kuletwa katika hii nchi ya Kenya ni sababu ya ile contract ya 104 billion shillings ambayo Adani anataka alipwe kwa sababu ya kuleta sijui ni software ama nini. All the contents of the SHIF and SHA zilikuwa published, some of the details juzi, na the benefits katika hii SHIF iko chini sana ukilinganisha na ile costs ama contributions ambao wale ambao wanashiriki watakuwa kitozwa. Kwa hivyo ni scheme ya kugandamiza na kutuongezea umaskini. Utakuwa wewe ni member wa SHIF ama SHA, na ile msaada serikali itaweza kukupatia haitatosha, na itabidi we mwenyewe kama uko na pesa ujisaidie. Hii ni bill ambayo matajiri peke yake ndio watafaidika. Matajiri hawahitaji hospitali za serikali, na hao watakuwa sawa. Na katika hiyo group ya matajiri ni hao wabunge wetu. Ndio sababu wanataka, hawajapiga kelele yote kuhusu hii mswada ya SHIF ambayo kesho kutwa tarehe 1 tunalazimishiwa vyo katika our throats. It is being thrust down our throats. Ambaye anayeongoza hii ni waziri wa interior, wanatumia chiefs, wanatumia madio, sijui county commissioners, ya kwamba tupende tusipende tutaingia katika hii mpango. Nakumbuka vizuri sana Permanent Secretary Ministry of Health alisema ya kwamba vile koti ilisistisha ya kwamba haiwezi kusimamisha the nullification of hiyo act, wataendelea kuimplement wakitumia zile unconstitutional measures ambazo ziko inbuilt into it. Yani vile wale ambao waliongea mbele walisema ya kwanza ni ukiwa citizen wa Kenya, uwe maskini uwe tajiri, hauwezi kupata usaidizi wote katika facilities za serikali. Na kuanzia tarehe 1 ukiwa utataka usaidizi wowote, cha kwanza watafanya ni kukuandikisha, na uandikisho ya bure, unaandikishwa na pia itafuatilia kwamba lazima uweze kulipa. Na hiyo malipo mtu anaweza dhania ni kidogo, wanasema ni shilingi 500. Katika NHIF malipo ya chini ilikuwa shilingi 500. Na nataka niwaambia kwamba wengi ambao walikuwa members ambao walikuwa kilipa shilingi 500 hawangeweza kutimiza malipo ya kila mwezi. Mara nyingi unafika hospitali, unapata uko default, unaambiwa kwanza lazima update payments zako ndio uendelee kupata usaidizi. Sasa watu wetu ni masikini. Hiyo 300 kila mwezi sio ndururu na itawashinda. What will happen? Kitu ambayo itafanyika ni Wakenya watakuwa wakitafuta pesa ya kununua dawa ili waende tu kwa chemist straight, watajitibu. Na hata hivyo sasa ndio wanafanya mara nyingi, sababu hospitali za serikali hazipatiani usaidizi yoyote ya madawa. Hata ukienda Kenyatta, utaona daktari, utalipa. Ukimalizana na daktari, utaandikiwa prescription, uende chemist. Watakwambia nenda pale Luthuli Avenue, kuna duka utapata dawa pale vile. Hakuna usaidizi yoyote, na hii SHIF haikuji kuaddress hiyo shida ambayo iko katika healthcare system. SHIF inakuja sababu hiyo platform, vile niliwaambia, the 104 billion ambayo 30 billion italipwa katika miaka za mwaka ya kwanza na ya pili. 30 billion itaenda. Alafu miaka 10 ambazo zitafuatilia ni 70 billion itaenda. Hiyo ndio kitu wamekuja kuchukua. Na tukiwa registered kwa nguvu, hizo pesa tutakuwa tukilipa za kupata usaidizi kutoka hospitalini, itakuwa ni ya kulipa Adani na hiyo group yao. Kwa hivyo tusimame imara, tukifanya civic education, tuelezee watu wetu, mandugu zetu, familia zetu, jirani zetu, ya kwamba hii mpango ya SHIF inakuja kwa lazima, na kama tunaweza tuiresist, tusingie kwa hiyo mtego. Vile nimesema hapo awali, hata wale wanaweza wataingizwa kwa lazima, hawataweza kugharamia ile malipo ya shilingi 300. Ambacho tunataka ni tuendelee na civic education. Tukipata watu wa kutosha bungeni, hata tupate daraja ya uraisi, cancel hizi deals zote za Adani. Kwa hivyo our last bullet ni 2027. Let us mobilize, let us get IDs, let us vote, so that tutajitolea hizi burdens, hizi utumwa ambazo Adani anatuletea. Hata JKIA kwa bahati mbaya ikiweza kupass through wakati huu 2027, cancel zote, sababu tutakuwa na uwezo ikiwa tuko na watu wa kutosha katika bunge, katika vyeo ambazo zinaweza kutusaidia kutunga sheria ambayo inatusaidia. Nimeshukuru sana Mweru kwa kunipatia mic kwa jioni ya hii. Nashukuru sana wasikilizaji wote ambao wako katika space ya leo, na nitarudi chini ili niendelee pia kusikiza mchango ya wenzangu. Asanteni sana. Jioni mwema.
Anthony, before you drop, I have a quick question.
Yes.
So last week we had a space where we were discussing the IEBC.
Yes.
How do you suggest we go about forcing these people to reconstitute the IEBC correctly and we get the IEBC working?
Yes, that is a good question, Mweru, because the IEBC is a little bit tricky, because the selection panel had been proposed by the political parties, and the civic and interest groups have realized that there is a section of the Kenyan populace. I think the youth were not properly represented, and other groups that would have of necessity been ideally be part of the selection panel. Now, with court processes, this thing is going to drag there. I am telling you for one reason only, because it works to the advantage of the political class. As we are speaking now, there are some deadlines that IEBC should have met by March this year. I think it's for the boundary reviews or something like that. So unless, if we want to fast track the formation of IEBC, I think this is something you will not want to hear. We really have to pull back on all the cases which have been lined up. I understand that right now we have new people who want to be enjoined in this case against the selection panel. So it's a tough one. It's difficult. And it is going to work to the advantage of the political class. We will not have the eligible youth being on the voters' roll in time. Neither, they are also slowing down on the issuance of the ID cards. With one mouth, they are telling us that there are thousands of ID cards to be collected from the registration centers, but with another mouth, or our own people who have applied for IDs are not able to get them. So there is going to be a deliberate plot to ensure that as many youth as possible not only don't get ID cards, but they also don't register. So I see this IEBC going to be dragged endlessly. In fact, we might reach 2027 with no IEBC in position, which will bring a constitutional conundrum to enable the government to self-perpetuate itself. They could even use it as an excuse to push through this agenda of extending the term, the electoral term, from 5 to 7 years. They might use the issue with IEBC to, to wiggle out of that. So that is what I'm reading of the situation. And just to finish off, like I said, a tactic would be for us to drop all the legal challenges and then see how it plays out. You see, the thing is, yes, it would be good to have an ideal representation in the selection panel, but the selection panel on its own is not the one that, or even the commissioners, they're not the ones who will determine the final outcome of the election. It is how you mobilize, how you get people out to vote, and how you maintain vigilance through the electoral process. So it's something which, if it was me on my own, I would say, let us pull down on all the legal challenges which we are rightfully putting forward and let the chips fall whichever way they may. Thank you very much. I hope that at least answers you partly.
Yeah, it does, because it's really been worrying me, this whole IEBC saga, because I hear an echo. But anyway, yeah, it's really been troubling me, because to me, as much as they have to come up with ways to suppress the young vote and suppress the election. I feel like, honestly, in my own perspective, that this is the first time that they're actually threatened and they're very worried about losing office. And this, like you highlighted, this is going to be one of the major ways they're going to capitalize on to suppress the voting in 2027. So I'm glad. I've just been trying to fetch for people's thoughts and opinions and see, because I mean, we had a space where we have a team that has decided that they're going to take this up legally, but I mean, I'm just trying to fetch for people's perspective, and then going forward we decide on what is the best move. I see Joe has the hand up. Please proceed.
Thank you very much, Meru. Thank you for organizing this space. I'm sorry, I must apologize. My grasp of Kiswahili is very, very poor. I'm from Uganda, and if we look at the political landscapes, Uganda is very, very different from Kenya. And Uganda is one country where dictator Museveni has deliberately suppressed civic education or voter education, political education from the syllabus. Even voluntary organizations or civic organizations cannot undertake civic education to enlighten the people. But I think civic education is a very, very important aspect of democracy and must always be given, I think, it must be given a chance to thrive. So I think in the case of Kenya, you're doing a good job, and in mobilizing this grassroots civic education. However, I think we have to be clear about the objectives. So the end goal should be really to empower the people to take power. And I think all strategies should be aligned with that objective. Civic education is very important because it fosters critical thinking and understanding of governance issues, in particular, if we're talking about the constitution, if we're talking about how voting works or voters' rights, but not just that. We can also tackle things like corruption, I think, which have come up severally, although my grasp of Kiswahili is again not very good, but that is what I've picked. So it is civic education actually is a very powerful tool, mobilization tool for active participation and engagement. And I think when people begin to understand issues and articulate issues and learn that they can hold leaders to account, I think that is very, 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 very powerful in empowering the people. And I think that is the way to go. So as far as Kenya is concerned, there is still some time, but it's not much time. So I think the mobilization should galvanize the people, empower them so that they can reclaim their democratic rights, their civil rights, their political rights. At the same time, hold leaders to account. These who are corrupt, should be held to account. And I think we can broaden this civic education to also include, for example, documenting cases like when there were riots, people were brutalized, people were killed, people were abducted. And I think our smartphones remain a very powerful tool. So we can broaden our scope to include also, how do we defend ourselves in the face of this, government aggression when the state has unleashed, violence on the citizens. We can take videos, we can document. And I think that remains a very, very powerful tool. This is how we have defended ourselves in Uganda in the face of this great, the dictator's military arsenals. He really can unleash, instruments of violence. And the only defense we've had is using our cameras to take photos and hold the goons responsible. Of course, it is another story. The judiciary is not independent, so the whole system is broken. But that is, I think, what the people of Kenya could be doing. So going forward, ladies and gentlemen, I think everybody should take it upon himself. Don't just leave it to the team. I know I had Comrade Marvin Mabonga and his team are organizing, but each one of us can actually, can impart this civic education in our rights, in our family, in our neighborhoods, in our churches. I think do not leave it just to a few individuals. All of you who have the knowledge can do that, so that it can make an impact. So I think that is my bit, and we look again. Coming from Uganda, we look forward to building alliances with the Kenyan, civil groups. All of you are fighting for, to liberate your country. And I think going forward, let this be a regional kind of struggle to read the region. Today, Uganda is the pariah, is the outlier. But we should not be left behind. We are struggling. Today, Uganda is, in terms of political trajectory, it is at the level where Kenya was with Moi. That is where we are. But we are making strides. We are fighting. We're up against a dictator who has been in power for 40 years. And he has captured all institutions, all the media, controls the flow of information. Corruption is rampant, and it has reached such epic levels. But we are not giving up. And thanks, you've really inspired us. So, but let's move in this. Let's move as a region. things in Tanzania are not also very good. This lady is beginning to abduct, to kill. She's committing a gross violation of human rights. So I think as a region, let's move together. And sometimes when your brother cannot speak for himself, I think Kenya maybe has at least credible institutions. Sometimes maybe you can speak out against the ills that are happening in the region. So, yeah, I think that's all I can say for now. I yield the mic. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe, for your submission. Go ahead, Tora.
Guys, we are talking about grassroots civic education. Hashtag Ruto must go. And we have one of ours, one amongst us who are in the ground. Guys, let's support them. The data support number or the transport or the fueling number is 0710452543, 0710452543. Itarid Jina Marvin Mabonga. Kindly support wherever you can, and the little you have, it will be highly appreciated. It will serve a great role, and we acknowledge you because you'll be contributing in the civic education indirectly because you're not in the ground, by fueling their vehicles, by buying them a lunch, maybe, talking so much and helping people understand how this government is working. It's really tedious. Moving from one place to another. It's tedious. It needs courage, like persistence in this thing. Kenyans forget so easily. So we want to emphasize on civic education so much so that they can understand, and when we go to the ballot next time, they will be able to remember, and they will be having in mind who the person you want should be, like the virtues of the person you want as a leader, what you are looking for from a leader, and a person who can serve you is not a person who is there for his or her self-interest. So guys, once again, we're talking about grassroots civic education. Hashtag Ruto must go. And we have a fuel number there, 0710452543, Marvin Mabonga. So welcome to the space once again, hosted by KOT Sonkoko, hosted by Toria Biwat and my good friend Mweru. Feel free, enjoy, and please pick up the mic. We wanna hear your views. Mweru, back to you.
Yeah, carry on, Toria. I see we have small, please request for the mic. For the speakers that are still here, if you have anything to say, just carry on.
Hey, Fundi, are you there? Fundi Wadamos. Fundi Wadamos, are you there? Hey, Mweru ametoroka, gai fafa. Real Joe, are you there?
I'm here.
So Fundi, pick it up, please.
So guys, pick the mic bana, museme what's in your mind. What have you done? What are you planning to do? What can we do as young civic educators? Because hii kitu nadhani ni yetu, it will affect us, or it's affecting us the most. So mkuje tuongee. Kama kuna mafuta, just yana ile uko nayo. And if you feel kama utaki, don't do it. Sometimes kama ufanye kitu, don't just criticize. So tunawaambia let's wake up. watu waamuke, watu wajue we need
na kila mtu mwenye ako hapa ndani. Fundi.
Hi. Felix.
Bari ya sahi.
Poa kabisa, labda yako.
Mimi niko salama, na kuna idea moja kenye huwa inaniban sana. Unaona hii idea ya hiyo ni kwanza ni hiyo inaweza kuwa very civil way ya create ya kuhamasisha wase tukae tumehamasika. Unaona hii idea ya flag na reziwa Monday and Friday. Hiyo ni kutu brainwash. That is kutu brainwash kabisa. Fundi unacheka.
What do you think?
It should be up every day. Ndio hata ukiamka hivi unaona kumbe mimi ni mzalendo. Unaona? Like we need to be alert man. Alafu hata isikue ati.
Let me ask you a question on that. Do you think someone mwenye ameenda in a foreign country, your flag, you call yourself the president in quotes, the flag of your country is upside down and you are there, you just quiet, you can't talk, you've not noticed it. Do you think this man will notice that actually, I think it's only in the police stations, if I'm not wrong, in the posts where the flags are raised on daily basis. Schools
nani Tori, acha nikwambie haifai hivyo. Inafaa ikuwe hata kama ukijisikia uko na flag unaweka kwako, unaweza iweka hata hapo kwako nje. Like in businesses hapa around, si unaonanga vile huku watu wengine wanafanya huku nje, at least ina create like hata hiyo mtu hawezi kufanya ujinga na constitution na ati hata yeye mwenyewe ataona aibu.
To be honest, guys, I think we have a very, very huge problem, and that's when it comes to our constitution. As citizens or patriots of this country, we have tried our level best to stick in the lanes of the constitution and do what our constitution entails us to do. But the people we are applying and approaching with the word or the Bible called constitution, the devil is not approachable. He cannot fall because of the constitution. Remember, he gave this child was born against his will, and he cannot raise it. So the constitution was passed against William Samoei Ruto's will because he voted a no.
Alikuwa na refusal kwa hii constitution.
And to expect aifuate. I think to some extent when dealing with a mad person, it entails you to act like a mad person so that you can understand it. Aki, mute your mic. So guys, I was saying like this. As much as we need solutions, all we need is unity. One, you understand, Ruto has gone back to those days he was going in the car and saying, nimetenga, nimefanya nini. And I'm happy because kina Morara, they are counter-attacking him through the same way. So ukipatana na mwenda wazimu, inabidi worked kama mwenda wazimu so that you can elewana. I don't know if it makes sense. And we can change this nation once again, and I will keep repeating this every day I wake up and Ruto is in the seat. We can change this nation by occupying those seats. And how can we occupy them? It's through us coming forward and saying, Toria, I want to vie for MP, I want to vie for women rep, I want to vie for governor, I want to do this. And implement, show us how you're gonna. It's high time, this very time, come forward. Show us what you can do for us by helping us liberate our country from the hands of these anarchists. They are anarchists, actually. I usually say you can't know someone is a criminal unless yourself you are a criminal and the person you are identifying as a criminal has the same characteristics as you have. So Real Joe, hi. Real Joe, hi. My co-host.
Hi Toria, hi.
Hey, leo umekuwa co-host, ulilia siku ingine hapo unasema utai co-host lini. It's today. Guys, request for the mic and remember to support for fuel. So Real Joe, I'm handing over to you.
Toria, I can't see speakers. I'm seeing Anthony, I'm seeing Felix. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Mbona watu request mic?
I don't know, sijui. Anthony, ebu ongea na ufue lenga ndo tuone venye watu watapanda hapa. Acha nikutafutie mtu mwingine anakujanga anateta huku.
Asante sana The Real Joe, asante sana Toria kwa kunipatia mic safari ya pili. Kwa kweli kuna kitu moja tu ambayo nimejisikia kabla nikikosa kuisema haitakuwa sawa hata kidogo. Iko katika hii mswada tu ya civic education. Kwa hiyo sasa tumeamua na tunaunga wale wenzetu wote ambao wamejitosa uwanjani kutafuta njia ya kunyakua uongozi, political power, ili turekebishe yote mabaya, yote maovu ambayo inatendeka katika jamii yetu. Lakini tutakosea sana ikiwa hatutagusia ile subject ya extrajudicial killings na abductions na injuries. Na sihi sana sisi wenyewe binafsi, sio watu wale wako kwa road caravan, sisi wenyewe binafsi tuzidi. Nafikiria wengi wenyu mumesikia mambo ambayo yalitamkwa na waziri wa interior bungeni juzi kuhusu mauaji ambayo yalitokea. Inahuzunisha sana, inagadhabisha sana, inanikera sana ya kwamba maneno kama haya yanaweza kutoka kwa vinywa vya watu kutoka nchi hii ya Kenya. Kwa hivyo kila nafasi ambayo tutaweza kuipata, tafadhalini tuseme, tujulishe, tukumbushe wenzetu ya kwamba haki mpaka wa sasa hakuna askari mmoja ambaye ametambulika ama yuko katika hali ya processing. So let us camp on the issue of justice for matters. Wale ambayo walikubali kwa hiari yao wenyewe kusimama mbele katika vita ya kumaliza ukandamizaji katika nchi. Hii ni jambo ambalo nilijifikiria mimi mwenyewe nikasema, tukiwacha hii nyuma alafu tuseme sasa tunataka kuenda bungeni kama wanasiasa, tutakuwa tumefanya dhambi. Kwa hivyo si jambo rahisi, najua kuongea kwa jukwaa. Kuna wale ambao wanatembea sehemu tofauti za nchi, siungependa kusema kwamba wajihatarishe kwa njia yote, lakini sisi binafsi tuko hapa, sijui watu 50 ama 70, tusiwache kulilia haki ya wale ambao walipoteza familia, marafiki, majirani zao. This should be our number one agenda, even as we seek to see meaningful change in this country. We must ensure that people are made answerable to this. We know that accountability requires that the CS of Interior should be in the top list of those people who have to explain to us.
Let me respond. Let me ask. Yeah, mute your mic. Okay, thank you. Let me ask you a question, a simple question. William Ruto is the chief whatever in charge of the whatever, and he is the one who appoints the CS for defense and CS for interior affairs, whatever. He is also the person who appoints the DCI boss, like the director of criminal investigation. he is the same person who appoints the Inspector General of Police. And the other day, Kindiki went ahead and said that the police did not murder people. So it is sent into quotes a direct message that the government is aware of the people who killed innocent protesters. Because someone like Murangiri, he is walking free of charge. He tours in Kenya wherever he wants. He is free, nobody cares. His details have been revealed everywhere, every place, even his KRA, his working station. And what they did, they went ahead and transferred him from wherever he was. He was at Kasarani, and they transferred him. Is that how our judiciary should be working, like in Kenya? Do we really matter as Kenyans? Do lives matter in Kenya? Because if I'm not forgetting, like the Constitution says, nobody should be denied a chance for life. Nobody's life should be taken. We have right for life, even if you have committed which crime. But our judiciary, Mother Koome is an incompetent Chief Justice. Because how can you be silent all that long? People have been killed, and when we're talking about high university or the new funding model in university, that's when you have a chance or the guards to come on the media or wherever to say that you've not been checking on the news, you've not been, that's bullshit, that's crap. What's your work? Like, how do we get justice in this country if some people are behaving, the person who we expect to go ahead and seek justice for the fallen soldiers, like to stand with people, is there saying this and that? You know, like, oh my God.
Yes.
Hao jamaa wanatuchezea big time, niwaambie. Like kuna hii SHIF, mani scandal after scandal.
you.